We were just kids with a dream and a van, dirt on our boots, but faith in our hands. The road was long, full of blood and grace. We held the line when the world lost faith. Thunder rolled, but we stood tall through the heartbreak, rises and falls. It's been a long time coming, but we're still standing strong.
Do it all because of a 12-year-old Boy Scout that went missing on July 19th, 1991, and was not found.
For nearly 30 years, private investigator Bill Garcia says he's worked about 300 missing persons cases.
I have dedicated all my pro bono ability to searching for missing and abducted children.
He says he's helped solve about a third of the cases he's been involved in. His latest case, the two toddler brothers reported missing in California City on December 21st. With 4 agencies involved, including the FBI, this is where Garcia says his team can be beneficial.
My team and I do an extremely good job at picking up where law enforcement either doesn't have the time or have the same direction as we do.
This is Nancy Guthrie's home near Tucson, Arizona. She went missing on February 1st. More than 400 investigators from all levels of government have been trying to find her ever since.
It has become a fairly high-profile case.
Bill Garcia, a private investigator now based near Sacramento, has been paying close attention to Guthrie's disappearance. Garcia is well known for solving many missing person cases over the years.
I've been doing this for, 35 years.
Garcia says he has a good idea about who took Guthrie from her home.
That particular area of Arizona is a high drug and money transporting area. It has just deepened my belief that this is in some way related to a money-making venture by people involved with a cartel.
According to Garcia, the person seen at Guthrie's store gives it away.
He does things that a professional would not do, the way he approaches the camera, why he would have picked up some shrubbery as it didn't effectively cover up the camera. If Nancy did come to the front door and contacted this person, I suspect there may have been some type of struggle, most likely after the camera was removed.
Garcia says he is not asking to be involved in the search for Guthrie, although he would be happy to lend his expertise. Salvador Rivera, Border Report.
She's not here. Just like we get tips, we get all those tips and theories. We get them there and we look at them and we kind of prioritize. But we don't, tips and theories isn't what guides us. She's not here. So the fact that we still have, the facts that we still have DNA to compare to a potential suspect, that is encouraging. She's not here. The family is not suspects. They're not. Now, does that mean that ends it forever? No. What happens if next week somebody calls and says, hey, a family member did this? She's not here. Because you're eliminated doesn't mean you didn't do it. They're ruled out for now, but what if somebody comes up and says, hey, this guy said such and such, such and such, that he did that. She's not here. Well, this is nothing new. But we have so many thousands of pieces of video, literally tens of thousands, that what happens daily is the team looks at these videos and really they're just kind of compartmentalizing them. This is pretty messed up.
TBX, better mind your step. TBX, truth don't rest. Jen and Glenn are coming with the whole thing in view. TBX, it'll find you. They got a buffalo mascot painted on a worn out sign. Big shoulders, hard eyes.
Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
Happy Saturday night. I'm Jennifer. This is my husband, Glenn. Welcome to TBX Unfiltered. Tonight, we are joined by veteran investigator Bill Garcia. He is joining us in the TBX studio with more than 35 years of investigating abducted persons and kidnappings. Some of them have even included high-profile cases, such as Laci Peterson's case. His expertise has been featured on NBC Today Show, Fox News, CBS News, NewsNation, Dr. Phil, Nancy Grace, and Unsolved Mysteries. Now, tonight, he's going to be discussing what a private investigator could possibly do that law enforcement can't. So let's get started. Hey, everybody.
I'm excited about tonight.
I know this is a really big deal. We're so honored that Mr. Garcia is joining us here. I think there's a lot of questions that a lot of us have had on many things regarding the investigation. There's, veteran law enforcement, veteran FBI that have come out and have talked about the case, what they think is going on. I personally wanted to know, like many of us, we assumed that maybe the family had hired a private investigator. Then we heard that that's not the case. And my question would be, if there was a private investigator that any family hired, where would they start? And what's really interesting about Mr. Garcia is he used to do this for a living for a very long time for hire. And now he does most of his work completely pro bono for families that need his help. So tonight, I'm very honored that we're joined by Mr. Bill Garcia, private investigator.
First, we're going to roll a little more intro about him.
Perfect.
Yeah, so just stand by and watch this.
All because of a 12-year-old Boy Scout that went missing on July 19th, 1991, and was not found.
For nearly 30 years, private investigator Bill Garcia says he's worked about 300 missing persons cases.
I have dedicated all my pro bono ability to searching for missing and abducted children.
He says he's helped solve about a third of the cases he's been involved in. His latest case, the two toddler brothers reported missing in California City on December 21st. With 4 agencies involved, including the FBI, this is where Garcia says his team can be beneficial.
My team and I do an extremely good job at picking up where law enforcement either doesn't have the time or have the same direction as we do.
This is Nancy Guthrie's home near Tucson, Arizona. She went missing on February 1st. More than 400 investigators from all levels of government have been trying to find her ever since.
It has become a fairly high-profile case.
Bill Garcia, a private investigator now based near Sacramento, has been paying close attention to Guthrie's disappearance. Garcia is well known for solving many missing person cases over the years.
I've been doing this for, 35 years.
Garcia says he has a good idea about who took Guthrie from her home.
That particular area of Arizona is a high drug and money transporting area. It has just deepened my belief that this is in some way related to a money-making venture by people involved with a cartel.
According to Garcia, the person seen at Guthrie's store gives it away.
He does things that a professional would not do, the way he approaches the camera, why he would have picked up some shrubbery as it didn't effectively cover up the camera. If Nancy did come to the front door and contacted this person, I suspect there may have been some type of struggle, most likely after the camera was removed.
Garcia says he is not asking to be involved in the search for Guthrie, although he would be happy to lend his expertise. Salvador Rivera, Border Report.
Wow. So we feel very fortunate to have Bill with us tonight. And he didn't want to do this, so Jennifer kind of convinced him. But you'll see in the chat, it'll come up every once in a while. It's a PayPal link to Mr. Garcia. We found out that he works pro bono a lot for families that can't normally afford a private investigator, especially at his level. Mm-hmm. So we're just putting that in the chat. If you feel like you want to help, it'll go to him helping more people than he already does. So
I don't think people realize the cost that's involved with searching. I think some of you do because you either know people that have done some searching, but it's, anything from pulling documents can be hundreds of dollars just in fees, let alone staying, traveling, all those things. So I think when people like Mr. Garcia do stuff like this, it's absolutely amazing. So I convinced him to give us a link. I said, there's a lot of people here that I think would be very happy to donate. Thank you so much for the subscribe to the cause of helping those that need help, that don't have the funds. So once again, we really appreciate Mr. Garcia joining us tonight. And without further ado, we're going to bring him on screen.
there he
Hi,
is.
good evening.
Good evening.
Hey,
Thank you
Bill.
so much for joining us. We are honored to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, I think we're going to start just with you kind of telling us what you normally, what your job as a private investigator normally entails. Like, do people reach out to you and like at the beginning of cases? Do you get mostly cold cases? I think there's a lot of maybe unknowns with what a private investigator actually does and how they get involved in most of these cases.
Sure. I've been doing this, like I said, for about 35 years. Initially, when I began this career, it was because of the disappearance of the 12-year-old boy, Boy Scout. And my forte is finding missing and abducted children, but that has transitioned into looking for others as well. Of course, getting on a case as quickly as possible is the most effective way to quickly find someone and recover them and bring them home. That's not always possible, and sometimes family and law enforcement do all the preliminary work, and we get brought in a little bit later when people start to wonder, well, why isn't this being done? How could we possibly do this better? And kind of snowballs from there. The difference between us and law enforcement is law enforcement has very stringent policies and restrictions. Our parameters are much wider. We're not obligated to be constantly telling your taxpayers or what have you what it is we're doing and how we're doing it and why. We've established a very good series of methods to search for people, which is why once I get involved and I know what's happening and I know where the case is going, I will often reach out to law enforcement or to whoever the regulating agency is. Sometimes they're helpful, sometimes they're not. Again, law enforcement doesn't always like the fact that we've got wider parameters. We can do more, but they have more resources and they have more funding. So we have to work wisely when we go forward with these searches. So very often, once I get started, I will pick people that I have worked with in the past that have a specialty in one or another type of area. And it's what we've done here. And I feel very confident that we're on the right track. One of my biggest jobs at the beginning is to watch and listen to what law enforcement is saying and doing. Because even though they keep as much under their hat as possible, there are grains of truth and evidence that do spill out. And because we are a fact-based investigative firm, we're going to take those items and maybe expand on them and take a little bit better look at them. For instance, in this case, why were particular people, detained? Why was there SWAT activity on some? And so we pick up on these folks and we take a look as to why they were being looked at, to see why law enforcement acted the way they did in these cases. And then we expand out from there. We have a large base of knowledge and experience, and we have some very professional people, agencies that we work with, that we have worked with for years, that help us kind of paint the picture and kind of hone in on where the critical locations are. You've got to remember, in most of these cases, they're children, and they're very vulnerable, whether it's sex trafficking or whether it's trafficking for other purposes or whatever the need may be. We follow up on these things, and we're not obligated to explain ourselves to anyone, outside of our client. And so that's how we've been working, and it's worked in many, many cases. Prior to this case of Nancy Guthrie, we had Melody Buzzard, a 9-year-old girl who went missing, and we worked that extensively. It's almost these cases are almost back to back these days, and
Wow.
we kind of continue what we do.
Well, I don't know that a lot of people know how you even got started as a private investigator, which is really interesting to me
Very.
because our son, for people that don't know us, our oldest son is a first responder. He's a firefighter, EMT in very large city in North Texas. And, there's a lot of training that goes involved with search and rescue. And a lot of times you don't know what you're getting into. So do you mind talking about how you even got started as a private investigator?
Absolutely. Essentially, from the very beginning, I began in public service. I worked as a wildland firefighter. I graduated to become what's called a helishot, which is a wildland firefighter by aircraft, helicopter. I graduated from that into heliTAC, which are the people that support the crews and the pilot and get equipment and all of the necessities logistically to a fire. I left that after a helicopter crash that we had in the Big Bear Lake area in California, and I transitioned over into EMS, and I worked on a paramedic ambulance for the better part of 9 years. I like what I do, and so I work a lot.
And so I gained a lot of experience in those areas. At one point, I transitioned back into firefighting with the U.S. Department of Interior and Bureau of Land Management, and graduated through their programs as well. And at one point, had a really very crazy incident that involved some very serious issues, and we were able to come out of it unscathed.
Yeah.
And
Your stories are
right,
incredible.
yeah, they're almost unbelievable. At one point, during the time I lived in a little community in San Bernardino Mountains, and I was a volunteer firefighter with this agency, and we were trained in search and rescue. Because of my abilities with helicopters and search and rescue from helicopters, I was utilized quite a bit in that particular area. Lots of people from the valley coming up and doing things they shouldn't have been doing and getting stuck on cliff sides and what have you. And even I don't realize or understand how I was able to do some of these cliffside rescues and other types of rescues, but I did. And that led me to the Jared Negretti case. And unfortunately, Jared was not found. I saw what happened and how the family was just devastated. Jared's father actually died from loneliness. I didn't even know that
Oh
you
my
could die
gosh.
of heartache. And I
Sorry.
promised myself that, no, it's fine. I promised myself that if I was successful, that I would dedicate a large part of my work to finding missing and abducted children, which I have. For many years, almost countless cases. In 2019, I was working alongside the U.S. Marshal's Office looking for two abducted children, 4 and 6 years old.
Hmm.
They got a lead that they had gone into Mexico, which is an area that I was very, very accustomed to. And on day 4 of the search, I myself became a victim of a cartel, and I was kidnapped and held for the better part of 8 hours before I escaped. And luckily,
Jeez.
with law enforcement's help, I was able to get back to the United States. And I pretty much thought, I've been lucky so many times. I'm not going to take that or that chance again. And so that's about when I started to think about retirement. I mentored a
You
gentleman.
think? Yeah, jeez.
Exactly. I mentored a gentleman in San Diego for a very long time, and his name is Bill, also of Blue Sky Investigation and Compliance Group, and he took over the San Diego business, and he does what I used to do in Mexico, and he does it quite well. He learned very, very quickly and does a very, very good job. And so, even though I'm not in Mexico any longer, I still contribute to some of the cases that are handled there. Some are missing persons, others are death cases, and some pretty serious things. So I've enjoyed and I've had a great career, and I decided that I can't just sit around. I had a pretty good medical issue back in 2020, and I survived that. I came back stronger, and I figured I can't just sit around. I got to do something. And cases continue to come in, and
Hmm.
it's hard to turn down a family when you have a child or an elder person or somebody that they need to find. And if we have the ability, we will jump in and we'll take the case, usually pro bono, and we'll work it the best we can, which is what's happened, in the last several years that I've been unofficially retired.
Yeah. He's one of those. He was retired 4 times now, I
I
think.
mean, oh my gosh.
At
Well,
least.
I mean, there's a lot of questions that we've had either from viewers, ourselves, and I think a lot of you kind of explained what law enforcement can't do and how you have a little bit bigger, larger parameters that you can reach into. But I guess a lot of us want to know, like, what is the legal freedom that you have that law enforcement does it like a little more specifically, like as far as flexibility and the freedom to pursue certain things that law enforcement can't. And I guess a lot of it was maybe like approaching a witness or, talking to people. Like, can you give us some examples of circumstances where law enforcement may have even had a lead, but you were able to pursue it and dig a little bit deeper than they were?
Well, again, law enforcement has certain policies and restrictions that don't allow them to go outside of those bounds. Our bounds are much wider. You come to someone and you want to take a statement or you want to interview them, there's automatically a wall that comes up between them and law enforcement because either they don't want to get themselves in trouble or they don't want to seem like they're helping the wrong side. When we come into a situation, we explain who we are. We explain that we're not law enforcement. We explain that we're not there to help take anybody into custody. We're there simply for information. And this has been very successful. We had a young lady in Escondido, California, whose 18-month-old child went missing, and she had claimed had gone missing. Law enforcement grilled her for an entire week straight, 8 to 10 hours a day, and they weren't getting anywhere. The husband called me and said, Bill, I know you've met with my wife and I, and there's something going on. Can you come and talk to her again? I showed up at the property. I asked her if she was ready to talk to me. And this is after talking to her for a number of days and being helpful and even provided a teddy bear to her to kind of hold while we looked for her child. And she finally admitted that, yes, she was ready. And she literally fell onto the gravel driveway. And I did put law enforcement on the phone. They told me what I could say and shouldn't say, and that I shouldn't make any promises. And within 15, 20 minutes, we learned that she had actually taken the child's life and wrapped that child in cellophane and dumped him in a dumpster nearby. We were able to get law enforcement homicide detectives there pretty quickly, and they were guided to the dumpster just as the dump truck was coming to empty that particular bin. So we literally were
Wow.
able to facilitate the recovery of that child. Unlike Jahi Turner, who I believe was dumped in the trash, law enforcement, the Navy, the Marines searched the landfill for the better part of a month, couldn't find him. And it turned out a mistake that had been made. They had gone to the wrong landfill, and the child most likely ended up in another landfill some distance away. But by that time, the cost and the ability by law enforcement was deterred. And so, unfortunately, Jahi Turner was never found. And so
Wow.
these are the kinds of things we can get involved in. I've helped on a number of other cases. I helped in the search for Laci Peterson.
I wanted
We
you to
had
talk about that. I'm glad that was going to be my next question. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that? And I think that case for me personally resonated. I was actually pregnant at the same time as Lacey was with our youngest. And I don't know, when she went missing, I was just, I hate hearing that. Unfortunately, a lot of pregnant women end up being a domestic violence recipient, and there's a high propensity for it, more than I realized. And when I heard about her situation, I think a lot of us at first saw the family. They're out there searching. They had so many people organized. And I did want to touch on that case specifically because I think it's come up quite a bit with even our audience questions of, just the current case and why we're not seeing as many organized searches from either neighbors or family. And so do you mind talking about that case and how you got involved and kind of what happened with that?
Absolutely. So when I first learned of her going missing, I followed the media. I followed all the news that came out about it. I was very happy to see family members, neighbors, complete strangers come forward and work on the search. And at one point, I thought, we need to get involved. So I gathered a small team and we went to Modesto, and we even had a short conversation, or I had a short conversation with Scott, in which he appeared to have been moved in kind of an unusual way. I think we deflated him a bit. I ran into him. We had the searchers and the reporters and the journalists and what have you all gathered at a Red Roof Inn, and I got to see Scott mingling with journalists and with others, and just the way he conveyed himself was not that of a grieving husband, or even a husband who was really searching for his wife. In fact, it
Interesting.
was almost the opposite. Some of the things that I saw were actually very disturbing. And so we worked in the area looking for Laci. And at one point, we were along the Delta Mendota Canal, and we found a pile of cement that was oddly placed along that area, which along with it had a tire print. And my understanding is that that cement was tied to the cement that had actually been used as weights with Laci. And we actually was on stage at CBS at noontime the day that Scott got arrested. In fact, they arrested him while I was talking about the fact that most likely once Connor was found, that Scott would be arrested shortly. And without
Wow.
knowing, they were actually doing it at that time. So for whatever reason, I think the biggest reason is our tenacity, and the fact that we actually care about what we're doing,
Yeah.
that we're able to move forward and do a thorough job. We've never had any complaints. Well, I take that back. We've rarely had complaints about how we do our job. Danielle van Dam was the same way. Danielle had gone missing from her neighborhood. The prime suspect had been interviewed, and he had been seen out in the sand in the desert with his motorhome. We went back and we kind of followed the path. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to put ourselves in the mindset of the person that conducted or perpetrated the crime. And that was the thing with this gentleman, David something or other is the person that was eventually convicted of her death. We started our search, and following what we had learned from law enforcement and some of the other potential witnesses, we were able to find Amber in the very first area that we searched, which was a desolate rural area between where state parks people had seen him in his motorhome and the Imperial Valley sand dunes out in eastern Southern California. And so by putting all these pieces together, we're able to have a logical way of going forward, because we can't just haphazardly start searching everywhere, because it costs a lot of money. You can put people at risk who shouldn't be out there, and we were successful. Same thing with Philip Salcedo, a missing armored car driver who disappeared in downtown San Diego, along with near $500,000. And law enforcement was having a really difficult time trying to figure out what happened. His father came forward and said, please help us find Philip. My son is out there and we need to recover him. And 6 days later, I found him in Cabo San Lucas. I
Oh
notified
gosh.
law enforcement, and they asked me to stay with him. So basically, I partied with him and his friends that evening, followed him back to his hotel.
Oh my gosh.
Federal law enforcement from Mexico showed up, and initially they couldn't help until they had an order from the U.S. government. The next morning, I literally woke up I didn't wake up. I was on the couch at this very fancy hotel. Uh, Again, they assigned a federal officer to me. We walked the beach, and there they were, the place called the patio, or the office, which is a patio literally on the surf. And I got involved with them again, and essentially I pretended to be a graphic artist from San Francisco whose friends had decided not to meet me there, which is why I was there by myself. And I videotaped Philip essentially giving a confession, not a truthful confession, but as to why he had left San Diego, his wife, and he subsequently, I believe, had like $483,000 in U.S. cash, which even to this day, I don't know how he was able to get. He drove from northern Mexico, northern Baja, the 1,100 miles to Cabo with that much money going through 5 military checkpoints in a very, very rural area. And we were able to get him back safely. FBI showed up shortly after the Mexican federal authorities took him into custody. We got him back safely. He did his time, and my understanding, he's become quite a substantial member of the community. So
Wow.
these stories kind of just go on and on and on. And
Well, I have a graphic that I wanted to put up that I think I worked on it because I think it's fascinating to me that an investigator can come in with not having a law enforcement background. And I think that there's so much that even if you're law enforcement, it doesn't mean you're a detective. So a detective background, has a lot of information that there's a lot of training that's involved. And
exactly.
we're going to put you back up on screen here in a second. So I just want people to see there's so many different aspects to finding a victim, right? So there's victimology, there's was there a vehicle involved, motive, there's so many different things. So I would think that it's not like, 52 card pickup where you just throw things in the air and whatever lands face up, you pick that first. So can you kind of walk us through what the process is for a private
Yeah,
investigator?
when you look at this graphic and you take it to the Nancy Guthrie case, because that's kind of what we've been focused on for the last 6
Right.
months. And
Correct.
this graphic, Jennifer actually made this. I just put some of the fancy stuff you see going around in it, make it easier to read. The timeline, vehicles, relationships with people. It all started to click a little bit with me. So I figured there probably is some methodology that you do for every case. It's the ABCs of investigative work that you do. If you can take us
Correct.
from the beginning, what would you do first, and then go from there.
Well, there's a misconception that if you're law enforcement, you're going to be an expert in these type of things, and that's not necessarily the case. Most law enforcement work their way up through the ranks, and
Yeah.
they're assigned to a particular type of case, and that's what they know. And they don't really go into these other areas because they're assigned to particular types of crimes. There is a lot of training, uh, both in looking for uh, a subject, interviewing, following timelines, following whatever evidence. My biggest thing is once a case starts, I pay a lot of attention to what's being said and what's being put out. Secondly, I need to go to the location. I need to acclimate myself to the surrounding areas, as I did with Nancy Guthrie's case.
I do that all the
Uh,
time too.
He
I don't know
does it
what
all
it
the
yeah,
time.
is.
her
It's two
her
G's.
little
Yeah.
tag. Yeah, her little tag just popped up on the screen. That's
Oh,
why I think they said that.
That's funny.
And so maybe she's watching.
you're going on there next.
That's funny.
And so I went to Nancy's house and I look at the neighborhood. I look at the routes in and out. I look at the people who have been
The scene.
questioned or detained or what have you, and I take a look at those folks, and I interview people that I find may have some kind of information. I do a tremendous amount of database searches. We have a very specialized search company that licensed investigators need to be vetted to get into and have
Yes.
an ability to search. Law enforcement uses this same database that I use. And so I'm able to start to assemble some type of a chronology based on what was occurring at the time, what is being said in interviews, what the subject is able or not able to do. And I kind of start from there. That's kind of my nexus, and I work out from there. It may involve actual ground searches. I've done some ground searches that took, you know, a very long time. I've done searches that involved over 1,000 people. When I worked on Jahi Turner, we had 1,000 people out there every single day, and the community came together. And I was very proud that so many people didn't even know the child. The child had only been in San Diego for 2 days before he went missing. And
Mm.
so just to see what humanity is capable of makes me very, very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Nancy's case, we did attempt to reach out to the Guthrie family. We did not hear back. And I didn't know whether I was going to get involved, but there was just so much that was being put out there, and so much of it is inaccurate. I mean, on a daily basis, I see Nancy was found, burial site was found, this person was arrested, and none
Yeah.
of it's realistic, none of it's real. And so we work from a very factual basis, and we go off from that. We may listen to some of this just in case there's a tidbit there that may be useful, but we work kind of a standalone away from all these other people who don't have the experience in doing what we do. And we've actually, I believe, have gained ground in this particular case,
Interesting.
and we continue to move forward. We do have specific scenarios in place that we're using our hypothesis on, because this doesn't normally happen in a vacuum. And when law enforcement hints or inadvertently puts a lead out there, or somebody documents that law enforcement did this or law enforcement did that, we listen, because those are things that are coming from a factual basis, and we
Hmm.
note those things, and we sometimes will actually pursue those type of elements, as we've done in this case. And so I think in what my team and I have done so far, we have a very good grasp on what's happening. Did we get surprised? Absolutely. We got surprised as early as Friday or yesterday in the search. For instance, ground volunteers is a good thing, but they're not trained to be out there. They don't know what to look for. They don't know what to do when they do find evidence.
I
They
see.
could
Yeah, that
get
makes sense.
they can be hurt while they're out there, whether it's by the wildlife, or maybe an angry rancher or someone that doesn't want you in their area. And there's a lot of liability with that. Also, when we're talking about professional search and rescuers now, who have been putting a lot of time into the searches, many, many times they've gone into an area, then they've gone into the same area again, once or twice, or even three times again, and it turns out to be that someone else finds the person, someone else finds the clues,
Mm.
and that happens so many times that just because search and rescue's been there once or even twice or three times, it is valuable to go back in there with a fresh set of eyes and a fresh set of feet, and scour those excuse me and scour those areas. And so we do that as a backup to law enforcement. We're not law enforcement. We don't want to be law enforcement. We don't want to be pushed away by people that don't want law enforcement there. I tell the people I talk to, we're here because someone's child, someone's family member, somebody's mother in this particular case has lost their family member. And like I said earlier, people have literally passed because of the heartache that they have. And I don't want to see that. I mean, I've seen just way too much death and destruction. And if we can impact these families by the assistance that we render, it makes me very happy.
Yeah, Bill, I can tell you're you're a good man, and the families you've helped, I know, really appreciate you. And just getting to know you over the last day, it's just you're an amazing person. I really wish that somebody with your 30 plus years of experience of just literally sniffing things out in a different way. But what I just learned in the last 10 minutes is really kind of enlightening. It's like a light bulb went off that we love our police officers, first responders greatly, and we need them. They're awesome people, obviously. But the role that an investigator can play without having literally their hands tied behind their back with a lot of the rules and stuff, it's like, hey, you have people that have bail money for you. You know what I mean? Like, but a police officer can't do that. His whole career's over. So you just opened my eyes to the importance of private investigator. I mean, there's a reason it's private. You're not a government official or a city person. You're your own person. If you get in trouble and ask the wrong thing and go to the wrong place and you go to jail, you just get out the next day and go do your job again. Police officers don't have that luxury. So that's why you're very important.
Yeah, they're obligated to work in this particular fashion to keep their integrity up. And that happens most of the time. Is there times where they go off center? On occasion, not that often, but on occasion. And so, we value law enforcement. In fact, there's been at least 3 incidences over my career where I've actually jumped into an assault of a police officer and helped save them. One time was a immigrant gentleman from Africa who did not know why he had been stopped, and he was gaining the upper hand on the motor cop and trying to take his gun. And I jumped in and helped restrain him, and he came up and was very thankful. I mean, it's happened, like I said, 3 times that I can think of, and like I said, they're out there to do their job for the same reasons. They just have different parameters. And so
Right.
And rightfully
we
so. I
love to be
mean,
able to
it's
help.
for a reason.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you. I mean, this is probably embarrassing that I'm asking this, but I love the show Tracker. Have you seen it? Have you heard of it? I know.
To be
I'm
honest,
embarrassing myself right now, but
I want to give a quick
no.
shout out. I see Boomer in the chat, and he's that's my new favorite show is Boomer.
oh, thank you.
If y'all see him in the chat, you got to go check out his show.
He's retired law enforcement and he has his own channel. Boomer is his name.
Yeah.
So, but I am curious though. I mean, all joking aside, they're portraying a private investigator that's being paid to help families that feel like they have no help, or a lot of times they're showing that law enforcement isn't listening. And I think you kind of touched on that sometimes, people feel frustrated that they're trying to explain what they think has happened, and maybe law enforcement has a different take and maybe thinks the family's too emotional, not thinking properly, so they don't feel listened to. So, the TV show kind of shows, they're conducting surveillance. I can't say that word lately. All of a sudden, following suspects and like you said, entering dangerous situations. But I mean, the rest of us know, if we're going to talk about the 80s, Magnum PI. So, but what is a misconception that you think that a lot of the public has about You know, I know a lot of those are romanticized. What do you think the biggest misconception is about what's portrayed?
Well, first of all, I never anticipated on becoming a private investigator. Yes, I watched Rockford. I watched
Oh, I love that show.
Columbo and
Oh,
Monk and Magnum PI, but I never looked at it as, oh, this is something I want to do. Although with Magnum PI, that kind of was a good direction. But
Yeah.
I, I I saw the tracker series. I saw about 5 minutes of it, and much like the CSI programs, they're very unrealistic.
the
Some
technology they
So you're
show.
killing my dream here. Okay.
Santa
Well,
Claus is
I wish
hiring.
I wish it was like that because then things would be somewhat easier.
Oh yeah.
I
But
know. Yeah.
you can't solve it in the 1 hour TV program,
This is true.
and it just doesn't work that way. Just like the
Imagine.
CSI type programs, it doesn't work that way. You have to put a lot of thought. You have to put a lot of effort. It weighs on your personal life,
Mhm.
on your family's life. And depending on the types of cases you work, it can actually endanger you and your family and friends, which is why I'm very limited on how much exposure I put to anybody that's close to me because I don't want that to occur.
That's
Um,
terrifying.
my ex-wife was a senior editor, which was in charge of the Mexico Bureau. And very often the FBI would reach out and say, hey, the cartels are talking about you because she talked and reported a lot on the different cartels. And so just that element that you don't know what's going to happen makes it very difficult. But once I got involved, it's almost like a drug. You like it, you need it, you got to have that adrenaline. And the simple fact that you can be successful, seeing the faces on a family when you're able to recover a child or even an adult, you can't describe that, and it's amazing. And so even though these shows I'm sure are very valuable, they don't show the whole picture. I don't watch any of those programs, either the CSI or the trackers, or for that much, listen to some of these content creators who are out there without confirming what they're reporting on because it's misleading. You know, most times, not always, but most times they are misleading. And we don't do it for the money. Back when I was employed, 40 hours a week, we rarely worked 40 hours. It was usually 60 to 80 hours, if not more. Um, you gotta pace yourself. Well, I had to learn to pace myself because I didn't want to get burned out at what I do. And we just kind of we go with the flow and we follow the leads, we follow the evidence. I've learned to listen to my gut. My ancestry is Tarahumara Indian from Copper Canyon, Mexico, and there's a certain level of spirituality that comes along with that. Women inherently have this gut feeling ability. Men have it as well, but you have to develop it. And I believe I've learned to develop it because out of nowhere, I come up with these thoughts that, okay, well, did you look at that? I'll often, very often, wake up in the morning. My subconscious has been working on this throughout the night, and I go, oh, that's what we need to do. Or, okay, this makes sense now. And then we kind of incorporate that into our plan and we go forward. So there's a
Wow.
lot of different components that come along with doing what we do.
Well, I think Glenn and I were discussing this today. One of the things that we wanted to ask you, and I've kind of teased on it because you said I'll tell you on Saturday. So one of the one of the questions I wanted to ask was after we did the interview with Mexico, with the Buscando Corazones ladies that do the searching, and they're the ones that receive those tips about her body possibly being there. My question is when law enforcement was saying, specifically Nanos, that they received the information about the tips, The Mexican authorities seem to not deem it as credible, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they're aware of the tip, but they're not going to do anything about it, basically. My question is, have you ever worked any cases where law enforcement had a body, but the public was not aware of it?
I have two that come to mind. The last one was prior to Nancy. I worked on the Melody Buzzard case. Um,
Oh yeah.
we were searching in Utah in a particular area in Clark County, not too far from the Colorado border, because the highway cameras had indicated that mom had driven 3,000 miles in 3 days, and on most of those trips, most of those cameras, both mom and daughter were seen. They were seen wearing wigs. They were seen with different license plates on the rental car. But when they crossed in from Colorado into Utah, all of a sudden, the child was not seen any longer.
Mm.
And the mother ended up driving all the way from northeastern Utah all the way to Vandenberg in California, and the child was not with her. So when she was interviewed by law enforcement, she refused to talk. And this went on from late October. Um, we, or on this case, I went by myself. I traveled to Junction, Utah, and started a search based on what I knew, based on some evidence that had apparently been discovered, turned out not to be factual. And then because of my ancestry, I do have a certain level of spirituality that I bring into it. I look at animal return, I look at the environment, I look at potential locations. Unfortunately, like I said, I sometimes have to put myself in the position of the violator or the predator. And it's not a very pretty place to put yourself, but while I was there, two hikers actually found Melody a short distance from where I was, and they didn't tell, law enforcement did not tell anybody. A, they wanted to make sure that it was her, and B, um,
Mhm.
Ventura County Sheriff, FBI, and even our team was monitoring the mother's home. I attempted to befriend the mother on a number of occasions, even bringing her groceries at one point, and she refused to talk to anyone. And this went on for a better part of 5 or 6 weeks. And
Wow.
finally, when they had the information that they needed, they arrested her on Christmas Eve this last December. And she has sat in jail with a murder charge, has not talked, has tried to delay all the court hearings. In fact, I understand the judge said there will be no more delays. And that goes on. Uh, in the court justice system. There was a young lady who she lived in San Diego. She was beautiful, beautiful young lady, 30 years old, and she got involved with transporting methamphetamines across the border. And she was very successful because she was so pretty that most border agents would just, you know, let her go right through.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
she got pretty confident, and she started to um, access the bags of methamphetamine, steal it, and then make the weight right by adding an additive. When they found out what she was doing, they did kill her. Her body was found, but they delayed any kind of arrest because they were watching particular people. It just so happens that the one person that was last seen with her had been arrested on something else, and I had gone to the jail to interview this subject regarding what had occurred during that last evening. And come to find out, he was actually the person who murdered, excuse me, who murdered the young lady, and he's now in prison. And I'm sure in this case, In this case, it was the U.S. Marshals who ran with it along with DEA, and I'm sure they got to the bigger fish. But there's been other cases that I can't really think of off the top of my head where a body is found. And a lot of times, like I said, it's because they don't have a good identity. They have a suspect, but they're watching them, they're surveilling. And it could be any type of surveillance. It could be physical, electronic, it could be aerial. There's just so many types of ways to watch someone where they're not going to know that they're building a case. And sometimes they feel, they may feel that I step on some toes, but I really try to avoid that. And that's why I sometimes will let law enforcement know that, hey, I'm going to be doing this or I'm going to be doing that. Just be aware. I have had a weapon pulled on me in the past by law enforcement when they didn't know I was there. So I do make a point of it um, to let law enforcement know, unless there's a reason why they shouldn't know that I'm there because of maybe some type of involvement. But that doesn't happen too often.
Wow. I guess
That was a lot.
yeah, well, I think it's very interesting that you've been involved in cases where they've had a body, but the public didn't know. Because that was one of my questions is if they're not going to go look, they're not going to go vet that tip, why would they not? I mean, logically, I wanted to know the reason on that. And it didn't make sense to me, except that maybe they already have the remains. I had a big question about that. So that's interesting that there's even a chance that they could. In those particular cases, were they telling the public that they still didn't have remains, or were they telling the public, we're still looking, or were they kind of misleading?
Mostly, you can tell when that is the issue because they either suspend searches or they don't talk about the case, or they talk very little about the case. There's currently a case in San Diego County of Angelica Brophy. She went missing just over a month ago. Um, she was a registered nurse in San Diego. On a Saturday, she dropped off her child at camp. She went to a casino. She was at the casino for the better part of a day. She left the casino at about 3:10 in the afternoon, went to a nearby state park where her vehicle was found, and then nothing. She went missing from there. Law enforcement, search and rescue from multiple agencies, search and rescue dogs, cadaver dogs, and scent dogs, and helicopters, and other types of rescuers came into the situation, and then they suspended their search. Now, I do congratulate the family for being so involved, and they have brought in volunteers, and they have become very, very active in searching for Angelica. And this all came about after a young lady by the name of Maya Millete went missing about several years ago, and she went missing. Her husband was ultimately arrested for her death and involved literally black magic kind of stuff. He eventually asked that she be killed by these black magic type people. And the week that Angelica went missing, Larry Millette actually was convicted of her death without a body. That's only the second time of that type of situation that I'm aware of. So it's amazing how people will come forward and actually, put their lives on hold and go forward. It's kind of interesting, and I think there's a much bigger picture in Angelica's case because they had the nurses that she worked with in the emergency room pulled together enough to hire a private investigator.
Wow.
I had initially put my name out there, and one of the news agencies had asked the family, and the family says, no, we don't want an investigator. But these nurses pulled together, they hired an investigator, and he was a retired San Diego Police Department detective who became a private investigator, as many of them do, and they fired him. No reason. We still don't know why that happened, but there's been no news, and I'm suspecting. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm suspecting that it's going to be a similar case to the Sherri Papini case. Sherri went missing when she popped up on Thanksgiving Day. A few months later, it turned out that she accused two Hispanic women. It turned out that the next boyfriend had actually helped her take a break. I worked on a documentary about that, and actually went to Nogales, to where this gentleman was, and he was very reluctant to talk. But I don't think that what she accused him of was actually occurring, and so I know a lot about that border area because this person lives right near the border, right near the Mariposa Reservation,
Oh,
and I know about it because when I worked with BLM, when I worked with the U.S. Forest Service, there's a lot of federal land around there, so I'm very familiar. And we spent a lot of time just months ago working on this documentary in that area. So, is that a possibility? It's one I'm not going to discount. I've been talking to a commander of the missing and abduction unit with the Mexican State Police, and he's heard of the case. Their unit has not been activated, but if we pursue that angle, Leon has the ability of bringing in the Mexican federal forensic team, which they have a black 737 jet where they carry their dogs, their forensic,
wow.
their DNA people. I've worked with this group a couple of times, and basically that plane is constantly in the air, going from state to state throughout Mexico looking for bodies. And this team is very, very good. They've discovered a lot of deceased people. When we worked on the Hughes Bellevue case, a doctor who went missing, a decapitated head was found, and other elements that indicated who had been the perpetrator of that particular death. And that person actually died on the operating table before he was able to be arrested. He was also a doctor. And so,
What?
I thought I had seen everything, but not
Gosh.
true. Not true. Every day is a new case, is a new situation. And one of those situations actually has me pretty intrigued in Nancy's case.
Do you want to discuss any
And
of it?
um, I think it's important. I think if I had gone to law enforcement prior to discussing it publicly, it might be shelved or it could be buried. And so yesterday, while I was going back, and because you have to go back over and over and over just to make sure you got everything down and make sure that you have everything covered
Yeah.
and not missing anything. Well, when I was doing one of these vetted searches yesterday, I pulled up Nancy, and because we're vetted, we have access to a lot more information than anybody in the general public. And what I noticed in her comprehensive report, there's a box, and it listed Nancy Guthrie as deceased. And I said, okay, that's interesting because normally for them to be able to do that, you need a death certificate. And so this particular box said Nancy had expired, she had died. Her date of death was listed as February 1, 2026.
Okay.
And I thought, wait a minute, that's the day she went missing. How could
What?
that be? And then it went on to indicate that this had been filed in Maricopa County, which is where Phoenix is, a little over
Right.
100 miles away from Tucson. And it's like, okay, well, I'm looking for any kind of residential address that she may have had a home there, and there is none. Now, there is other family that have residences in the area, but nothing that directly links to Nancy. And then as I looked further into that particular box, it indicated a very specific zip code of where she had been reported to have expired. And I'm not going to discuss that part of it.
Yeah,
But,
I need to do that.
but typically, in 35 years of doing this, and in 20, I think with this company, I've been with them about 24, 25 years. They had actually bought out the company that I had been with before. So I kind of got moved into this company. And in all those years, I've never seen this kind of a situation occur. So my thought is, okay, are we not being told that she's been found and they're continuing their investigations? Could that be why law enforcement is not on the ground searching? Could it be that's why they didn't allow the Cajun Navy to come in? Because typically they go pretty much everywhere. They've gone places I've gone. They've gone places abroad. I mean, they were on the case in Aruba and other cases where they do know what they're doing. They're a large
Hey,
group.
Bill,
They've got experts, and they got the money to do it.
is there a way that when you were looking at this information that you could verify that you have the right Nancy Guthrie, like, I don't know, a place of birth or a social or something that, only your
I have
eyes
it
would
all.
know?
I have it all. I've got date of
Wow.
birth.
Okay.
I got her social. I've got her address in Tucson. I've got every component that would show that would be a proper document. So
Wow.
and the death certificates aren't filed immediately. There's a lag time. It can be anywhere from 1 to 3 months, sometimes even longer.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't show up at all. So
And it's
why
been
this would
6
have showed up?
months. So,
I'm sorry.
and it's been 6 months that she
Yeah.
went missing. So,
So you're not
Well,
saying you
I'm not
saw a death
sure.
certificate, you saying that you saw an entry in a register that's saying that had a date of birth, a date of death rather, and you had verifying or corroborating information of social, place of birth, and those kinds of things, or something to know it was the right
Correct.
person. Wow.
Correct. I would not come forward with that kind of information if I wasn't absolutely sure that document's there. I
That's
got copies of
incredible.
it. I got copies of it because I don't want to be told, oh, you're just making things up. Because in this world, if you can't prove it, it didn't exist. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
So on Monday, I will be reaching out to the company who provided this information, and I'm going to question them. I'm also going to contact the agency where this should have been filed. So on one hand, it's okay, was she found? And people and everybody is kind of being kept at arm's length because they're trying to make the investigation stronger. Or could it be that someone somehow falsified a fake death certificate, filed it? Because once that's filed, if there's an affidavit or someone who can indicate that they're the executor of her trust or her estate, they can start taking money and or properties. And currently, I think that this case actually does involve a much larger picture, and it involves people who have left the country. I'm not going to go into what countries or who these folks are, but I do think that element's there. But it's being complicated by all the people who are putting out fake uh, news out there, essentially. And so, like I said, I don't listen to content creators because they are not journalists who have been trained and taught to check out their sources before they release them. So I just breeze right through them. I mean, and unfortunately, it looks like even a few of the major news sources are amplifying probable or suspected evidence, which doesn't pan out, can't be substantiated, but they're using it anyway. And I don't like that because it makes the job for law enforcement and for us that much more difficult. And so when law enforcement is, I'm sure they've spent millions of dollars. Now they're involved in lawsuits for civil rights harassment. You know, it becomes extremely, extremely costly,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't have to be. There should be some kind of parameters that dissuade you from putting fake information out there. You can't just be doing this for clicks and giggles. You know, it just doesn't work that way. This is serious. These are
Right.
people's lives.
Well,
You know,
we're
do we
honored
think we're
that
going
you
to?
came on ours, and we don't have, we've only been doing this for about a month, so we're really honored that you chose to come on our show. We really appreciate it. I
Well, I
think,
saw what you put out there, and I feel that it's very, very competent, and it's very clear, and it's very concise, and I think you guys do a good job. And these are the kinds of programs that actually let the public know what's going on. The community needs to know in case there's any other kinds of dangers. Do I believe we're going to find Nancy? Absolutely. I don't know what's kind of situation, but when we travel, we've got full medical gear, we've got extrication gear. Not to say we're going to go out and pull her out of whatever location she's at. Most likely, when we do find where she is, we're going to put the place under surveillance, and we'll have law enforcement in. But at the same time, I would like to say that if you were involved with Nancy's disappearance and you are feeling the pain and the intensity of what is occurring and you want to reach out, I will more than be happy to speak with you, to communicate with you, to make sure that we can get Nancy back. And I have no ties to law enforcement. It doesn't mean that they won't request me to share with them certain aspects, but there's certain things that I can keep from being put out there. But again, the biggest part of this is to get Nancy back. She's got family, she's got friends. There's a lot of people that care about her. And, we really do hope that if you are watching and you feel it in your heart to come forward, please do. I
Yes.
will keep it as professional as I possibly can. But we do want to help. We want to help not just Nancy's family, but who may have done this, especially if it was done inadvertently and you didn't understand what could happen if she lost her life. And there's a possibility that occurred. So we're here. We'll take your call, we'll take your message, your communication, and help us bring her home, please.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because we say it almost every episode that, the person or persons that did this they probably are online. I mean, this is the new media, is YouTube, Facebook, whatever, all the socials. I know they're online watching. And now our little show, are they watching us? Who knows? But we
I
get
would say
replayed on
so.
other shows and things happen. I've heard other YouTubers and independent coverage people. We all need to say the same thing sometime during the show, is that if you are involved and you did do something, he's right. Go to a third party like Bill Garcia Investigations out of California and get the information and the help you need to come forward with at least the information to help the family. If not yourself, it'll help the family locate their loved one. That's what we're trying to do.
have you had
Exactly.
have you had people that have come to you besides that other case that you mentioned, where the husband called you and said, "I don't know if something's right," and
I've had some
Ooh,
people reach out to me on Nancy's case,
really?
and I'm not sure if they're legitimate because there's not a lot that's being shared by law enforcement to point in a particular direction. But I do listen to these people. I do get my fair share of people who are ill and don't have
yeah,
the kind of conscience that you would suspect someone to have. But you know what? We listen. We listen. And if what you're telling us is correct and we can build on that, trust in us. we will, we may be able to help you, especially if you had a minimal role. There's a certain point where we can't help, but there's a lot more opportunities out there where we can than there isn't or that there aren't.
Either
I
one.
get it. I think that's what's been very frustrating about this case is that a lot of people feel like there's a lot of pleas for help to the public, but there's not a lot of information, as you said, like from a car. It's like normally you have a car of interest. It's like, there came out that there was a white vehicle seen on somebody's camera close to Nancy's, and then it was like, nope, 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 that's not it. Well, how do you know it's not it if you don't know what the car is? So there's been a lot of communication. I joke on the show, it's not, a joking matter, but you feel like you've been invited to the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. It's like, oh, that's not the car. Well, why isn't it the car? We just know that that's not involved. Well, how do you know it's not involved if you haven't told us what car? It's very confusing. So, in your professional opinion, with the limited amount of searches, the limited amount of information given to the public, which a lot of people deem as odd. I don't know what's normal and customary in a missing persons case, but I think a lot of us feel like there should have been keep an eye out for this type of vehicle, keep an eye out for this. And it's like you said, it's been radio silent for almost months
Yeah, what does
until
that mean?
recently. Well, in your professional opinion, what does that mean?
Well, that in itself does tell you that something is definitely happening. The
That's what
fact
I
that
thought.
they've gone silent is an indicator that there's something going on with the vehicles. That particular neighborhood, once we got acclimated to the area, there's only two direct routes out of there. One goes south, one goes north. If you go south, you're going to go straight into the city of Tucson. On a very early Sunday morning, law enforcement is out looking for DUIs and other violent type criminals. The cameras are up all along that area. So, even though a lot of people don't like the flock cameras or the different type of surveillance type cameras, they're going to capture license plates. They're going to capture vehicles. If you go north up towards Skyline on Campbell, it comes to a T intersection. And from that intersection, you can either go west towards Interstate 10, and it's a major thoroughfare. It's actually a highway. There's going to be cameras in that direction. There's going to be cameras in the easterly direction that goes up towards Mount Lemon. And so there are a lot of different places where they're going to be able to see these vehicles in a chronological fashion. So they see the vehicle, they most likely will see the plate. In most cases, they can even see the driver, and then they go forward from there. And so you can track. And that particular area with a high impact of drug, human smuggling, and money laundering traffic, it's going to be a really difficult place to keep yourself hidden. It's almost impossible. And so they know more than they're telling, and we need to be able to do that. Excuse me for a second. I need to power up here because I'm starting to lose a little bit. Excuse me.
That's all right. While you do that, can you hear me?
I can. I can see you as
Okay,
well. I'm just going a little dim.
I've got like
Mhm.
a little two-part question.
Sure.
Because you just kind of, I don't know, you keep blowing my mind a little bit here. So you seem to know the area around Nancy's home very, very well, better than some people that have been there the whole time. I know you said you have been there and you originally went there. How long were you there to know the roads like that? And then my second part of that question is that I find it compelling that there are so many, Jennifer I've talked to many law enforcement officers, like specifically detectives. We have a detective in our family, he's a retired detective. And I will say that 100% of the people we've talked to, which is quite a few, not just my family member, nobody has anything positive to say about not the sheriff's department specifically, but specifically Sheriff Nanos. Now, I don't want, this isn't a bashing thing about him personally. This is a professional question and it's a serious question. How do you feel they've done with, or he has led this investigation as it's seen by the general public? Behind the scenes, he maybe have done a wonderful job and they have their guy and they're trying to build a case. But is this normal? I just feel like everybody I know, other streamers that are also retired police officers that have their own shows, have nothing nice to say about him. So I'd like to hear from an investigator that gets to go around and behind the stage and see all the things what you would say. But the first part of that was, how long were you in Tucson to know it so well, the area around her home?
Well, on this particular case, I've been there 3 times. Usually, before I go on my initial, I order USGS maps, so I have a good knowledge of the topography in the area,
Sure.
and I study the roads in and the roads out. I look on the computer. I use Google Earth quite a bit to help acclimate me, and that way I have a sense of what I'm going to be finding when I go there. Then I go there and I'll sit in front of the location, and then I will essentially blindly find my way out of the neighborhood, utilizing both known major roads and even some of the smaller roads. The problem with the smaller roads that kind of lead through the neighborhood in a roundabout way, there would have been a lot more people catching vehicles on their cameras than if you took the direct. There's only 2 direct routes out of that block. The one goes south into Tucson, like I said. The other one goes north and then splits off to go towards I-10 or east towards Mount Lemmon. And so we do it in segments. We do the area right around the home. We may even use a drone to take a look at other things. I know a lot of people said, well, there's got to be mine shafts in the area. Actually, there's no mine shafts in the immediate area. There is once you get away from the neighborhood, and there's even a more exclusive neighborhood adjacent to it that is gated, that is more difficult to get in. But my suspicion is no one that I know is going to be emotionally deficient in this kind of a situation. You have to have some kind of emotion. And when you are emotional, you're going to start worrying about, is there police out there? Is somebody going to see you? Is somebody going to recognize your vehicle? Do you have enough time to move her to wherever you're going to move her to before somebody figures out that she's missing? And my estimation is there was 3 to 4 hours before daylight, and daylight changes things. If you get on a major highway, especially in that area, there's a lot of law enforcement, state, undercover, federal, task force, CBP. I've even known of predator drones from the government flying over those areas, specifically looking for what they call hot calls or vehicles that may be involved in some kind of crime.
Oh,
And so these are all things that are being looked at behind the scenes that the general public doesn't have knowledge of. And so putting yourself in that position, what would I do if I took this woman who's medically having medical issues? How would I deal with that? How would I transport her? Where would I transport her? How would I keep her safe? Or were they not thinking about keeping her safe? We don't know at this time. Was it a true hostage situation? Was it a money situation? Was it revenge? What was it?
Right.
We don't know. And
it's almost
there's a
like you
lot of
become
questions.
one with the case. You
You
like you
have to.
spend time introducing yourself, and then you go over the information, and you become a friend of the case, and it almost like you become part of it. It's
You,
amazing.
you
It's really
absolutely
interesting to hear you.
You absolutely do. I spent just short of 5 years on the Rebecca Zahau death, girlfriend of a multi-billionaire. The billionaire's 6-year-old son had a supposed accident in the home, in the mansion. A day and a half later, Rebecca was found naked, feet tied together, hands tied behind her back, with the same rope going up to her neck, T-shirt shoved down her esophagus, hanging by her neck from a from the second story of the mansion. And in all of that time, you have to kind of put yourself in the middle. I mean, I traveled all over the country interviewing people. I went to New York and I interviewed I went to New York 5 times, and I interviewed an associate to a crime family who was dropping a dime, as they would say, on an associate from a different crime family, and talked about the assassination. Ultimately, the sheriff in that particular county called it a suicide, so there was no criminal offense, although the billionaire's brother was found guilty of her death in civil court. There's no jail time, but there was a hefty fine there.
I'm not sure
And
how you put yourself in that position, the way she was found. That's
you can't,
interesting that
you
that would
can't.
have been ruled as suicide. That's interesting.
It is,
Um,
and there's a lot of issues. A lot of people have done documentaries on it. Everybody is afraid to tell the truth, though. There's a book out there called "Death on Ocean Drive," written by a true crime writer named Caitlin Rother,
okay.
and she depended very heavily on my investigation in that book. And she's written 13 crime novels, not novels, 13 true crime stories.
Interesting. Yeah.
One of her last ones was just, well, not her last ones, one of her former ones was just before Charles Manson died. She interviewed him at length and wrote a book about Manson. And she was terrified for months. I mean, um, she really worked that case hard, and she does that on all of her books. She's a good author. She had worked for my ex-wife as an investigative reporter at one point, and then went true crime. And she's very good at what she does. I actually located her husband's remains when he went missing in Mexico. So there's a
Oh
long,
my
long history.
gosh.
Yeah, and he looked like Stephen King. He
Nice.
literally
Oh
down
God.
to the Coke bottle glasses. And so, these
Wow.
stories just all factual. They go on and on and on. And again, I thought I was done being surprised, but I'm not. And I have a feeling we're going to get a pretty good surprise on Nancy's case. And as long as people keep it in the limelight, as long as people keep searching for her and bringing her name up.
Oops. Did we lose him?
I think we may have lost it, but if you're listening to us, you can just use the same link to get back in. Man, that's amazing that
Wow.
the amount of, oh man, just the experience that he has. But anyway, wow.
I'm texting him just in case.
Yeah, make sure he was having some power issues with his phone a minute ago, but it still shows connected here. It's interesting.
He may have accidentally hit something because it looks like the camera turned, but
Yeah, if everybody goes sideways, we'll figure that out.
I'm kind of in shock for all of a sudden. But on the other hand, I feel like my instincts about maybe there's a lot more to this that we don't know. And the reason we're not getting new information is because they've already got the core people, vehicles, everything that they need. They're just working on building the case. I'm a little blown away by the findings about her possibly being declared deceased already. That's very interesting.
Yeah, he said it was a
And
record
Maricopa County.
in there's a system he uses specifically that the police also uses. It's legit. I heard him talking about it earlier with you, and it's not like the crime thing from the FBI, but it's a service that a lot of detectives use and a lot of police departments use. And I guess he was looking in there and found a record when he was looking at Nancy specifically that
Yikes.
there's a notice of being deceased.
What do you
not a
think
death
about it
certificate.
being Maricopa County, the Phoenix area?
Yeah,
Do you think my question is because that's where the federal court is. And obviously, if the FBI's main headquarters is there too, could that have something to do with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a
Bill,
mistake.
come back on.
It's an entry that was done by mistake, but I think his point is that's not how this company works. Like there has to be a some sort of document that spurred that entry into that docket. So
I guess he's going to check it out on
don't know.
Monday.
There could be a very simple reason why that line item is, so to speak, is in there, but I can't think of one. So
Well,
I don't know. And it wasn't there originally because he said he was just going back and doing more research and pulling up her data again to see if there was any changes, and that's what he found. So
oh, yeah, there's people saying thanks for having him on. I haven't been able to see the chat. Thank you so much, guys.
yeah. And Bill, if you're listening, you can call back in, and you never, or maybe he did that on purpose because I asked him what he felt about Sheriff Nanos. I'm just kidding.
No.
It's just I like to hear because, again, I think it's very compelling that other law enforcement officers, and not that these guys stick together and all for one kind of thing, but it's professional courtesy to not talk about another police department or specifically another police officer, especially a captain or a sheriff, I would think.
Well, because we don't know
chief
what's
of
going
police.
on.
He's the
It's
equivalent
just-
of a chief. So I don't know. To hear so many say things that he's doing this wrong, and
Yeah.
it starts to get like, why is he still there doing this job? It's amazing. And I understand it's a sheriff. It's a little different than a police
Well, they had
chief.
they had all the petitions.
Yeah.
And they had, if they got so many signatures, I think it was 200,000 or something, then, but they didn't get anywhere near enough, is what my understanding,
Well, and
which is
then
unfortunate. If he's that
What was the
disliked.
vote of no confidence was
Like
50%, but now I've heard that it was 98%.
Oh, no,
or
yeah, it
something.
was almost 100%.
So that's a problem for me. It's a problem for the public. It's a problem for the Tucsonans that we've been talking to,
Yep.
who voted for him, that are now not going to vote for him again and are very upset at what's happened to their city, under their county, rather, under his guide. So I don't want, like I always say, I don't want to talk bad about Savannah. I don't want to talk bad about the sheriff. I know he's got a hard job to do. It doesn't mean he's doing it right. And Savannah says things that are just plain stupid, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to have to hate her. I think she's misguided. And I wish she wouldn't say things like that. I wish she would have turned around when they went through the memorial at the end of the driveway and said, thank you. It would have went a long way for a lot of us.
It would have gone a long way for sure.
We're not here making money off of someone's misery like the news actually does. They can't turn their lights on if they don't get, payment from advertisers who are paying to be on a show that has viewers. That's not how we work. We're in a member program, member supported programming. We don't expect anyone to give us a penny, but when you do, it's greatly appreciated. It lets us go on. I mean,
We
what
just
Bill
want
was
a
talking
subscribe and a like if you like our content.
Please
That was it.
subscribe and please like tonight.
And that's free.
Please don't
But-
forget to hit the like button right now. But I was
But,
just going to say real
yeah.
quick, Jen, that they don't have to give us a penny. We're going to continue to come on here and do what we do, but it's
Right.
super appreciated. Today, what Bill was talking about, it's so expensive to get court records. That service he uses is very expensive. He was out said over
yeah,
$100, and we're
More than that,
We're
yeah.
spending crazy amounts just to get this kind of information and just the time alone to get someone like Bill.
Well, I don't think people realize that a lot of those records, they're not free, So, I mean, shoot, I went to go just get a copy of my birth certificate. It was like, that's going to be $50.
Well, you get what you
It's
pay
like-
for when you don't have
Yeah.
to pay for the free. When you get free, it's usually
But I think
Not
what's
official.
fascinating is that he feels like there's a lot more information that they already have. And that's why we don't have it, which is makes me feel a lot better. I think that maybe, hopefully, that makes all of you feel a little bit better, because I think the overwhelming response has been, stop coming on and telling us you need help and then giving us nothing to go on. Why don't we have a car? Why don't we have all these things? Well, logically, my question has been all along, if we don't have a car of interest, when we know now from, we call him Mr. Tucson, an anonymous person that's emailing us, he wants to stay anonymous, that's in Tucson, lives right near Nancy. There's plenty of cameras. The area that doesn't have a lot of cameras is much further south of Tucson, in another area. He said that whole area has cameras that are very active. There's also 2 other companies. He said it's not just Flock, it's 2 other companies that have those cameras, which to me was fascinating, because what Bill just confirmed is that they probably have a vehicle.
well. There's a lot of information out there that the Flock cameras, they didn't sign their new contract with them, so the cameras were all dysfunctional now. But
In Tucson?
but what we've found out is that the cameras don't just go away just because the county decides they're not going to sign the contract for them. They're still there.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm so sorry we weren't able to say
Yeah.
thank you for subscribing. We had some new members.
Oh, and there was a super chat.
Subscribers.
I'm so sorry.
Oh.
Divine Julie, super chat. Thank you so much. What did you
Shark
say?
family.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you for coming
Yeah,
over from
Mark
there.
the Shark. Please check
thank
out
you,
Mark
Phil.
the Shark. He's got an amazing.
Yeah, he was so
Amazing
kind to
group over
us.
there.
So was Crime Crunchies. If anybody's in here from Crunchies with Courtney,
Yeah.
boy, was she really kind. I mean, we're very humbled by the fact that we're a new channel and these people are reaching out to us. I think a lot of times, you normally as a new channel have to be like, hi, can you have me on your show or something?
Yeah,
And,
or tread lightly and try to get people to like you and those kinds of
and
things.
we haven't had to do that. I mean,
We're being ourselves and
yep.
yeah.
So it's
and-
been very nice to be invited and appreciated for, trying.
Can
Let
I
me
put
see
your
if
graphic back up while we're? I want to just.
he's not
put this
answering,
up.
which
I'm
means
just-
his phone is probably totally
I think he
dead.
plugged it in. It didn't actually
Charge.
do anything when he plugged it in, probably. But this,
Somebody said it looks like a modern day Clue or something.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a little cartoonish, and I'm sorry about that. We worked on it and just couldn't get it exactly how we wanted it. But the information on here, Jennifer, I was really interested in this, and not even reading the small print under the main titles. So this is about adult abduction, the crime, how they work in this circular pattern around here. When you put it in the context of specifically this case with Nancy, if you remember the timeline, that was the first thing we were all focused on. Then the scene kind of at the same time. Now they're looking for vehicles. Is this a crime of finances? We don't know yet. Is there a specific vehicle of interest? Then we saw them taking vehicles and ripping them apart and getting warrants and doing that kind of thing. The photos of the scene, remember all the drone video? If you haven't seen Mark the Shark's drone,
Wow.
go watch his channel.
You
It's
need to go
amazing.
watch, 'cause
It's
he
the
got
best drone shots in the world.
Well, I didn't know he got right up there in other areas that we weren't able to see in
Yeah.
other, official, because I guess the national media was doing a hover, right? A hover and turn. No, Mark got like right in there. So,
They were doing
shout
the
out to
200-foot view, and Mark got
Mark for getting
the
that.
5-foot view. Really,
Oh, thank you so much.
And then the relationships that she may have had with certain people, the digital trail, obviously, witnesses. Fortunately, we haven't had that. The victimology, that's just,
Well, we don't
about
know.
her.
I mean, there may
Yeah,
have
but the
been witnesses.
relationship map is kind of where I feel like we're all kind of focusing right now.
Oh,
Who does she know? Who's family? Who's not?
the
His
6 degrees of separation.
A&T, where she worked and had some criminal element of people that she worked there. Not that she's a criminal, just that the people around her, in
In the vicinity.
in her circle, could they be involved? It could be as simple as that. The pool guy's cousin, Annie's friend from somewhere that went, hey, guess who I know?
Well, to clarify, when you said it's in her circle, we found out that collective that she worked with her jewelry and everything, apparently they hire people that are former criminals. And I think a lot of podcasters have talked about it. So I don't think this is new. This is not new information. But it is interesting, just to clarify what you were saying, the criminal element
You need to
that
do
could have
that
been
sometime.
abound. Well, no, with me too. It's like people assume, and then it makes, what?
It makes
An A out of you and me if you break apart the word. But so it's just good to just keep everybody focused on what we're trying to get across here. It's not that she had a particular criminal element in her friend group. It was that group that she worked in, hired people that
a
were
few
previous
degrees away, possibly.
Right. But your point is, like a lot of us have been saying, if there was this expose that we all know took place in November with the Today Show, and it featured Annie, it featured, her mom, were there possibilities that people didn't know who, A was and who she was related to. And this, spurred a whole snowball effect of criminal activity around the family. We don't know. But does anybody, have any? Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's the other one. You already put that one up. Yeah. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Mhm.
So, I don't know if anybody has any questions. I wish he would come back on. Shoot. Because he had another thing he wanted to say to everybody. But,
He's going on Nancy Grace later, it sounded like.
well, he said something, but I don't know if he
Something
just
popped
doesn't
up on-
pay for no commercials
Oh.
during YouTube.
Oh, I
Maybe
don't
that's
know.
what it was. And if he's watching true crime, maybe it was an ad for Nancy Grace. But
Nina, activist Truth Justice, said she sent you an email. We'll check that
yes,
later.
yes, I did get. I definitely got the email on you, and I replied. I'm so sorry if you didn't get it. Maybe check your spam. We really appreciate anybody that sends stuff to us. We appreciate it. You know, we're not investigators, we're not detectives, but if there's something that we can, you know, pass on or help. I mean, some people just write, I think, to vent, which it's nice to have people that are just invested into this case as we are and caring about what happens. And, you know, to Bill's point, there's so many other missing people that sometimes don't get the attention. And something that he touched on briefly, and I hope you all caught that, was that he told me in private phone calls as well, the public's help in keeping the name, the face out there is so important. So as many of us felt kind of let down by the communication that was coming out from the Guthrie family that, you know, they don't appreciate people that may be making money. I don't know if that was directed towards us. I think a lot of people felt like that was a direct hit, us included. Having said that, there's a lot of families that wish they had this kind of attention. So, I mean, you know, just take the high road, ignore the negative, focus on the positive, and sometimes that's just prayers. Sometimes it's actual boots on the ground. Sometimes that's networking skills of people that know people that know people. And sometimes it's just this. Somebody's watching, somebody is thinking about talking, somebody's scared to talk, they don't know who to call. I would think that, you know, FBI law enforcement would be intimidating as heck, especially if you yourself potentially had a criminal background. Maybe you weren't involved, maybe you know who's involved, but you have a criminal background. Who wants to make that call?
Thank you, Jessica.
You know, oh, thank you. You don't want the spotlight on you,
exactly.
You know, and you don't want to be implicated in something like this. So, you know, having a Bill Garcia that you could call, talk to, help.
A little cushion between
Mm-hmm.
law enforcement and you. And again, I mean, law enforcement's different. Our homicide detectives, police, just regular detectives, and then they work, you know, think about it. They work in the jail usually.
Thank you so much.
Then they become like a beat cop or whatever, traffic. They work up to be a detective, then they're in homicide.
Right.
And they see things that we could never imagine. And I only know this because, well, I have a lot of friends that were just police officers to homicide detectives, and
then
they all see horrible things. They absorb a lot for the general public.
Much.
It's a different thing. I think that most of the time investigators, although they see horrible, gross things and they see the worst of humanity, they're not first on the scene usually, which is some of the worst things ever. So guys like Boomer, I just love watching his show because he's got war stories, but he knows how to tell them without freaking us out too bad.
Yeah.
he
And Bruku
downgrades it a little bit. He knows how to tell the story.
Beyond the 5-0, you know,
He's awesome too.
I mean, and
love
he
that
was a sheriff and now, you know, a judge.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to hear all these different law enforcement perspectives on the case. I mean, all of us, you know, we have our other favorites out there, you know, like, you know, Chris and Karen, and then we've got the Big City Crime, you know, crew. I think all of us watched all of that, and it's just interesting to hear a lot of the nuances that are similar and the same, and then other nuances that are completely different. And I think that's why it was important for me to hear a private detective's perspective.
I was looking forward to it.
Especially somebody like him with 35 years of amazing experience in high profile cases. And just the respect to law enforcement.
Oh,
I mean,
sure. He
him,
has
of
that.
course, being in fire rescue and a search and rescue. And that helicopter crash was really bad. I mean, he said he's almost died like 12 times.
And anybody that knows, or to be a woodland firefighter and then a Hellcat, this guy is a total bad ass. I'll have to say it. Excuse me.
Well, our son was talking about doing it, and I said, I don't think you understand. It's not going to happen. And then, of course, that
there's a lot of things we
gonna
wouldn't
make
allow him to
choices,
do that he did.
I'm like, I kept saying, can't you just be an
Thank you,
accountant?
Susan.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate all the memberships tonight. We couldn't
guys are amazing.
address everybody with. I was so enthralled with what Bill was saying. The light bulb just going off about you're a private investigator. You could literally go to jail tomorrow for doing something, but you know what? You got your information and you didn't lose your career over it.
Right.
Police officers can't do that. And look, but a police officer goes to work in his shift every day and sees crime and stuff every day and gets
Horrible.
a case and works it for maybe a year. So they have a
more.
lot of consistency in their job, police officers. So they do learn how to do their job very well over time. So when you hear somebody like Boomer, like Chris at the interview room, like any of these guys that have more than 5 years, they're 10, 20, 30 years experience.
They've seen it all.
They're gems, and we have to give them the respect that's due. Jennifer and I are not law enforcement. This is not our career.
A lot of our friends are. Yeah.
Jennifer is a very good communicator and she's the one, I always say this, I'm going to do it again for the new people. There's a lot of new people on here tonight. Please hit the like button. That really helps us more than anything, is that she can get on the phone with 7 people if we need one, and she'll find that one that's the star that will come on and talk and tell us and break down. And we got more coming. She won't let me tell you anything, but
they know next week.
You ain't said nothing yet. That's what my grandfather used to say, which I'm sure he got it from somewhere.
Yeah, sweet Juanita Adame is going to be our guest next Tuesday. And I reached out to her almost immediately after we started, and she was really sweet. I call it a compliment sandwich. She was like, "That's really sweet of you. I'm so glad that you liked everything, and I'm just really busy, and I don't really do those, but thank you so much. If anything changes, I'll let you know." And I replied back to her, I go, "So I feel like Jim Carrey. So you're saying there's a chance?" she wrote me back that she started laughing like LOL. And I said, "No, I completely understand. I'm sure you're hounded by people that have, really large channels. We're not a big channel. We don't have any, cred to our name yet." And I said, "I think it would just be really interesting to hear from you about what your instincts were as a reporter and somebody that's been interested in true crime for a while, what your feelings were and why you pursued getting the scanner traffic. And when you heard what you thought was indeed the scanner traffic from that morning, what were your thoughts?" And I couldn't believe it. I said, "Let me know if you change your mind." And this last week, she wrote me and said, "I just want you to know that I have free time on Sunday to do the interview." And I was like, "What?" So so we are so thrilled and so honored that she trusted us to do an interview. So we're doing the interview on Sunday, but we will be posting it on Tuesday for all of you to listen to. She really is a really special person. She really does care. And being a reporter, you see so many different aspects to crime scenes, to the elements of what's happening behind the scenes that you can't always report. And she's going to talk a little bit about that too. Thank you so much for subscribing. So I'm trying to get people to discuss with us, share some knowledge about a lot of the questions that a lot of us have that feel very frustrating. Like, why isn't media saying certain things, or why are we getting certain communications, which is why Juanita's coverage will be really interesting. And then, of course, having, Bill, tonight, wow. He told me that he turned down another news station for an interview because he just felt like
much bigger,
like huge. And I was sitting behind the scenes with my eyes aghast when I was on the phone with him. I said, "Then why me?" He goes, "Well, my son saw it. I saw it. I really appreciate the way you guys are reporting facts. Really trying to stay to the facts. Of course you have to talk about theories." He agreed with that, because how else do you figure things out, right? You've got to bounce things off, as we call it, spitballing, and, discussing the possibilities and trying to put yourself in the position of the why, right? Why would somebody do this? And and the motive is, I think it can be like a main motive, but I also feel like there could be layers to the motive. And what are those layers? And if you're a logical, critical thinker, and you're discussing, you put on the board the proverbial board, who you think the potential players could be in something like this. Like it could be, like we said, that one study that we showed out of the university said that it's less than 1% of abductions that happen that are elderly, like her. Less than 1% of abductions are elderly women, and elderly in general. And then the highest percentage, it's over. I think it was something like 98%. It's very, very high is familial involvement. And it's usually, and I can put that study back up. We can put a link to it that I found that we shared on one of our episodes that said it's usually either the son or the grandson, which was
I
so
don't like that
awful.
statistic at all.
Well, they're saying it's so rare that it happens anyway, being unalived in general. But when it does happen, that's what happens. So, which is why law enforcement, a lot of people just went there. Nobody wants to go there, but they went there because that statistically is where it goes. But okay, so if it's not that, put that person up there, put those persons up there, whatever. And then who else would it be? Who else would do this? And then what would be the payoff? So it was really interesting hearing Bill when we kind of talked
Can you try to
offline.
get a hold of him? I have an idea what we could do while you do that.
Yeah,
I want to
I
try
texted
something
him.
tonight. I want to do a giveaway for those that have stuck around. We're at 2 hours right now. We were trying to keep our shows to about 2 hours, but I want to see if we can get him back on. But this is a new thing for me to try to do this because it's a technological marvel that's even possible. So I'm going to put it in the chat. If you'll bear with me, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll figure out a way to make it right if it doesn't. So let's see if this goes.
I should just put my readers on.
It's a 5 minute. It will be in the chat. Let's see if it shows up even. Let's see.
And thank you everybody for
We're just going to give away a cap from our merch shop. It's a TBX Unfiltered cap. I think it's the white one. You have not, and I don't know if it's doing anything.
It's not showing up. We'll see.
see.
I know they slowed down the chat a little bit too.
Oh.
But I think
The giveaway is still open. You have to type in !TBX live. Yeah, 5 minutes. So continue.
Well, also the link in the chat, if we still have it in there for Mr. Garcia, again, he does so much of this pro bono, which was shocking to me because, we just know from talking to some people that had, services that they pay for, either yearly subscriptions or whatever, just for background searches for their businesses, how much those cost, let alone pulling certain records on a regular basis during an investigation. It gets very expensive.
Oh my God, there they go.
Travel and oh wow, thank you so much, guys. Let's get a cap giveaway.
Gosh, I hope there's not a limit on how many people I can put in this thing. I'm just kidding.
But I if we could help in any way, we told him he didn't want to even bring it up, and I said no. Is there any way that I can get a link? And he goes, I don't think I'm comfortable with that. And then this morning, I contacted him again and said, please, there's so many people that really care and they would really like to be able to fund somebody like you for any investigation, whether it's this one or a missing child or, families that don't have the money to fund an investigation to find their loved one. And he finally agreed to give us that link. So we're really appreciative. So anybody that feels led to, donate to him, I think that would be very helpful. I just was surprised that he wouldn't even ask for it. He's a really giving guy, and I think just having the background that he has and doing what he's doing to help is just amazing. He's not responding. I have a feeling his phone is like totally dead.
Well, we have 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in this.
Thank you so much for the jewels, guys, and everybody that sent jewels. We really appreciate all of that too. That's very kind of you in the super chat. And
I thought I would put a picture
of
that in the chat, honestly, or somehow.
Did you have that other clip of what he did? Like, did we already show that one with Unsolved Mysteries? It was really...
yeah, I can show that in a minute, but we got to finish this up now.
Oh, yeah.
We only have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
But yeah, did we show the clip of Nanos?
Yes.
I did?
Yes.
Oh. Man, that was like a
so embarrassing
trailer. That I did that?
No, it's just like him. I would be embarrassed.
Don't think he's in the right job.
Well, it's if you don't have anything constructive to share, then have a public information officer come out and say, we don't have anything constructive to share. Thank you so much for the jewels, everybody. That's really nice of you.
Yeah, so remember, it's !TBX live, no spaces anywhere, including between the exclamation point mark and TBX live. You can see how most people are doing it, and it's correct. In fact, our parent company, TBX Studio, keeps putting in there how to do it.
Yeah, you have to.
need
It's
to make a call
specific
to them.
because of the way the drawing is, right? It has to be specific.
Yeah, because this program will pick up exclamation point TBX live, all one word, including the exclamation. I don't know if it matters if it's cap or not, but
Well, we really appreciate
the
it.
giveaway is still open. Yeah,
We
see,
just
it
wanted to
shows you
do
how to do
something
it.
nice for you all that have been supporting us and, sending us
Well,
kind comments and
it was really
emails.
about doing a cat because I don't know if it's going to work. I don't want anyone to be hounding me down over this, and I don't think anyone would.
While you're doing that,
Yeah.
I'll look something else up here for a
So
second.
let's see, we're probably about done. 45 seconds. There's a streamer I watch a lot that does this, and we all go crazy for the stuff, and I'm always like,
Oh, he
Just
sent us
go
an
buy
email.
that.
Sorry for the disconnect. I'm not sure what happened. My phone just powered down and I can't get it back up. Can you forward your number? Okay, hold on. Yes.
oh, to that. You can
Yes.
actually email it.
So yeah, let me do
Good.
that.
Well, maybe we'll get him back.
Hold
on here in
on just a
second.
second. Just a second. It needs to be that the main phone number, right? Oh, he actually tried to call me. Shoot. Do I just put my phone number or which number? Hold on.
No,
The TBX studio one?
give him the link.
The link? Oh, I guess he said he was just gonna. I can call you on a different number. Yeah, I'll send him that link. Hold on.
Do you have a way of emailing it?
Yes, hold on.
Okay, I think we are just about over. Oh, we're done. So let me get the list of people. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Copy. Now let me go back here and see if I can make this work. Please work. Please work.
Let's hope that worked.
Well, the funny thing is like there's no way to test it without real people. Oh, hang on. I got to hit that. Boom.
Sorry, guys. We're waiting to see if he calls in. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging around for this. I just think it's so important that we hear the rest of what he had to say before he goes. And
I have a backup plan. Yeah, it won't let me paste the names in there, so. We'll take over the show, Jen.
I mean, I was waiting for Bill. I thought he was going to call in. I guess not. So, I guess, what do you want to do now? You want to go ahead and do your giveaway? Okay. Oh, thank you so much for the jewels, guys. We really appreciate it. I think everything he said was just really important to, I think maybe take a deep breath that something is being done. It sounds like his gut instincts are that they have a heck of a lot more and that they're just working on that particular suspect for prosecution. Thank you so much for the jewels. We really appreciate it. So it looks like Bill's going to try and come back in. So those of you that are sticking around, we really appreciate it.
Meanwhile, all right. So I'm on what's called Streamlabs and it says pick a winner. So normally I want to show you what I did have, but it's not working because it won't let me paste the names in there to pick the name. So unfortunately, I should get my money back on this. Ta-da! And that would spin with all the names on there. We'd be off to the races. But what we're going to do instead is...
It didn't work?
Well, this will work over here. See where it says pick the winner?
Yes.
I'm going to pick it. Ba-boom. And the winner is Disney Girl-26.
Disney Girl-26.
Disney Girl-26 to say hi in the chat.
Congratulations, Disney Girl.
Yeah, Disney Girl-26.
So if she says hi or says it in the chat.
It just means that she's really here, not a bot or anything, which she's not. Disney Girl-26.
Yeah, it does do it automatic. He had to push the button, but he thought it'd be more fun for you guys to see the wheel with everybody's name on it. But for some reason that didn't work. Hold on, let's see.
I don't see.
He's not clicking on. I wonder if I have to give
Disney
him
Girl. The Disney Girl, has anyone seen her in here? Disney Girl -26. Disney Girl -26. Say something in the
Say
chat.
something in the chat, Disney Girl.
There went a bunch.
So did we miss it?
I don't know. I'm looking on here too.
Shoot. Well, all he said was disconnect. Can you provide a phone number for me to call you? I wonder if he has like a landline. Is there a phone number that we can connect to?
No.
Through that? Shoot.
He needs to plug his phone into a different outlet or something.
Just click on laptop.
I bet he figures it out.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't see Disney Girl
I hate when
-26.
stuff like
Don't
that
get
happens.
frustrated. Oh, no. Congratulations. Everyone's congratulating her.
No, everybody's saying congratulations.
So let me type her in the search and see if she did reply.
And we really appreciate all of you that are sticking around for him. And again, if you don't mind just hitting the like button, if you appreciate the content, and anybody that subscribes, we really appreciate it. And we'll just see if he figures it out and is able to call back in, because I know he had one more thing he wanted to say, and we just can't.
There she is. I am here. Thank you.
Yay. Waving hands, basically.
All right, Disney Girl, you won a cap. So what I need you to do is, let me make a copy of that. Oops. So we got proof of it. This will be in there forever now.
Yep, she is here.
Disney Girl -26. We got to figure out a way to get you the cap. What it is I'll give you a link and you can go on there and order it yourself and don't have to give us address or any of that kind of thing. So if you'll send us an email, Disney Girl -26 to tips@tbxunfiltered.com, and we'll figure out a way to verify it's really you,
That
because
sounds
I
like
know
a
we're going to
radio
get
announcement.
fake people emailing us for the free cap, because it happens. But we'll figure it out. Disney Girl -26, send us an email at tips@tbxunfiltered.com, which you may have seen earlier that we do have our new website that is now available for everybody.
Yeah, we're really excited about
Don't
this.
go there right now, though.
Yeah, no.
Stay with us.
Yeah, Glenn worked on it really hard. This is beautiful. Yeah, you did a good job.
It's getting updated every day. There's more and more stuff. We have our case files on there now, and the Springfield 3 Nancy Guthrie is pretty much all right now, because other cases we've got, we're trying to build them up a little bit before we start talking them too much about.
Yeah, we're trying to get some more interviews for other cases that we're working on, because I don't want to, I think there's so much information from us being slightly obsessed with this case that we're able to talk on it, intelligently.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm going to bring up another case, I want to bring, somebody that has either firsthand knowledge of it or is a little more well-versed, before we really start sharing it. So
let me show this next little slide here, is to show you that if you'll do what this person did here, well, bam, and like my sound effect, hit the stay connected button. Doesn't cost anything. It'll get you our free newsletter. We're about to do that. We'll probably send those out once a month, but there's one right now, just an introduction kind of one. So let's watch it again. It's pretty easy. The stay connected doesn't cost anything, and we won't send you a bunch of emails. It's just the newsletter. And if something big comes out, like, I don't know,
hello,
Nancy Guthrie major news, we may send one little email out for that.
Are you able to connect on your laptop?
Oh, we're on the phone. So please go to the website.
Yep, I sent you an email with the link. So if you go to that same link,
tell me what you think too.
Then you can reconnect and be able to talk to people before we hang up. We would appreciate that.
Yeah, we want to say goodnight.
Everybody wants to say thank you. They really enjoyed your.
We're lonely. There's a big blank spot there. Let me get rid of that.
It's I'm sorry. Go to your email, and in the email I connected the link. You just click on that link and it will link you in just how you did with your cell phone.
It's kind of a
it says
picture.
eCam on it. eCam. When you click on that, yep, you You don't see my reply? No, it's like a picture. It says eCam. Yep, that's it. You click on it and it will connect you. It will take you to how you can connect when you're on your laptop. Okay, perfect.
Did everybody hear that?
I don't know. It's hilarious.
The anticipation.
I know, but we're grateful for everybody that's
anyone that's sticking around in our little technical difficulty. But I will have our wheel of giveaway working next time.
Yes, everybody's saying thank you, Bill Garcia, if you can hear me. So he's going to try and click on and get back on so that he can.
Thank you, Demery, saying that we were professional because we don't feel like it right now.
Hey, things happen.
Oh, Disney girl, you didn't have to do that. I really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys didn't have to do that. That's really nice of you. Thank you, Disney girl. It's very sweet of you. We appreciate that.
Don't forget to send me an email to tips@tbxunfiltered.com. And don't worry, I'll check the junk email and all that.
Poor Bill.
And we'll get you that link.
I said, just make sure your phone is charged when you call. And he goes, nope, it's all charged up. And we've all had that where we're like on that one call and it's like, no. Okay. Yep.
Yep.
All right. And then you click it and there you are. Okay. You have to enter studio and then
I'll see him calling in here. This is exciting, guys.
and then I'll hang up with you on the phone once you're connected. You don't have to do that. We've already got your name up. So, yep. Perfect.
Oh, you may have to put like your name in.
I'm sorry. I guess you do have to put your name in. I lied.
You're a liar.
It's funny, we started talking about nanos right when it went, and the charger was working just fine.
That's crazy. Oh, here you are. Okay.
Okay, let me go ahead and hang up.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I don't know if we can hear you on there. Can you hear him on there yet?
Well, let me put him in the room and we'll find out.
Okay, let's find out. He wants to make sure before
I can't.
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, but I can't hear you outside the phone.
Now, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Speakers may be turned down.
I'm not able to hear
Oh, and
you.
shoot, I hung up.
Where's speaker on there?
There you go. He's figuring it out.
Interesting.
He's an investigator. I bet he figures it out pretty quick.
Put some light on.
Can you call him back?
I can. Yes.
Where is the?
Poor
I
guy.
apologize.
Don't apologize.
Oh, he's still holding the phone.
Oh.
This is greatness.
This is fabulous. Are you there?
Okay, there you are. There you are.
We can hear you on our end. I don't know if maybe.
Yeah, it's his speakers. He needs to turn his speakers up. He knows what he's doing.
Okay. Okay, let's hang up.
Okay, bye.
Did he figure it out?
We got you. Now we got you. There we go.
Can you hear us?
It was really, really flaky, though. I mean, just not a very good video, but
It's okay. We didn't want to leave it hanging like that and not say goodbye and say thank you for what you're doing for every, missing person case that you have. I think there were so many people in the chat that said, thank you so much, for
Really?
doing what you're
Oh,
doing.
cool.
We're getting all these new members now. They loved that we're having all these technical difficulties.
Excellent.
Hey,
Excellent.
Let's do this
everybody
every
hung
show.
out. We have a lot
Yeah,
of people that
I'm
hung out for
wondering,
this.
I just figured you hung up because
they
you didn't
did?
want to
What'd
answer
you
my
tell-
nanos
what did you tell
question.
them? What did you tell them about what happened?
About what happened?
Are you there?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
About me getting disconnected.
Oh, disconnected? Well, they saw it. I didn't have to tell.
Yeah, you were all of a sudden you were gone, and they were like, "Oh no!" And they were hoping you'd come back on, and you did. I made a joke saying, "I think he just didn't want to answer the nanos question and hung up on us."
Well, I started speculating it was Nanos who shut me down.
It was hacked.
Because I keep my devices in a Faraday bag when I'm not using it. That way nobody can tap into my phone.
Oh
It's
yeah.
happened before. But
Oh,
it's
wow.
weird because I'm not getting any kind of signal.
Thank you.
That's and
Well,
it's a
we
new phone.
appreciate it.
Did you hear that?
What?
He's not getting any signal all of a sudden.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah,
If you were a
it's like
conspiracy theorist.
completely dead. It's not charging. I put it on a high efficiency charger, and it's not even registering.
Goodness.
Anyway, if this works, that's good. So,
Well, we wanted to just say, obviously, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about all of this and explaining different perspectives in a search. I think, it's really important to understand that every role that's played in this is important. And I think, something that kind of resonated with me, and I think other people that are listening, is that you said it is important for people to keep the missing person in the forefront, whether it's on television or, even social media. I know you feel like, if it's going to be on social media, let's report facts.
let's be factual about it. Correct.
But I think you did say that it's very important that it stays out there. The missing people, that we get it out there, their photos, their names.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, how did it go overall?
Well, we're still on. You're on live right now with all of us.
Oh, I am?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Make sure there's nothing in the background that shouldn't be there. We're good.
Some case
I'm
file
so
hanging on the
sorry.
wall.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are live.
Well, so that,
And I think it went over very well. Everybody's very happy.
yeah, that's a big time case up there on the wall.
Wow.
It's a Hollywood murder case.
Interesting.
Wow.
Anyway,
Well, we appreciate you. I don't want to keep you much longer late in the evening, but I think after 35 years of investigating missing persons cases, is there one case or one person that you still think about and feel like the complete truth was never really uncovered?
well, obviously the Jared Negrete case back in 1991, you know, had that not occurred or had that occurred some differently, I probably would have had a different path. But because of the pain that I saw, and I saw a lot of pain when I worked in EMS. I mean, working on a paramedic ambulance in a very congested, high traffic area, you see a lot of stuff. I mean, I saw
Yeah.
a lot. I have delivered a total of 13 children. Most of those children came out of the women's prison at Chino. The one I remember there was a 12-year-old child who gave birth to a child, no prenatal care, on the couch on an extremely stormy night, and that one stuck with me. There's just so many of them that do, but Jared big time sticks with me because, like I told you when we talked earlier, I was that fat little 12-year-old Boy Scout, and I can feel where he was at when he was on top of that mountain, and the fact that he was never found is huge. And I wish somebody would pick that up at some point because it's a big deal. But
Wow.
there's been just a lot of cases. I mean, Dr. Bellevue to be decapitated and murdered, that's a big one. And There's just a lot of them, and
Well,
they're all a little bit different.
I for
I
one
had
am
one guy.
grateful for that you do what you do. I know that the families that you have helped recover their loved ones are glad that you do what you do. And with the reverence, the respect, not only for the families and the lost, but also for the law enforcement that you work alongside. That I know that you may not always be welcome, but the fact that you continually give respect towards them, I think is huge for anybody that's watching our channel. I think that, it's very easy to start to feel jaded and feel unappreciated maybe. And I think it's extremely telling of what kind of character you have, that you continue to hit the reset button and treat every individual that you come in contact with the utmost respect, no matter how much maybe disrespect you may be getting in return. So,
And it's something that just it was taught to me very young, and it's a lot of what I was taught when I was young, because I was raised by my grandparents, didn't make sense when I was young. And it wasn't until I grew up and I started dealing with matters on the street that it's like, oh, okay, now I know why they would tell me this. Now I know why they treated me this way. Now I know why I had to do the things that I did growing up, was to develop a good relationship with everybody around me, because it's horrible to walk around with this chip on your shoulder, or
yeah,
negativity, or what have you. And for a long time, it's like, wow, every day I see negativity. I mean, I've dealt with some of the worst of the worst. I mean, I've been into prisons and dealt with MS-13
Mm.
people, members that have shot police, and I'm investigating it for the police department. I've had you know mafia associates that I've
yeah,
had to interview, and even those guys literally treated me with respect, because they didn't realize that I was going to be that way. They thought I was going to be bad or aggressive or whatever, just like correctional officers can be. And it's not in my nature. Now,
well, we can
don't rub me
tell.
the wrong way, because I can be pretty mean if I need to, but that's not my nature.
Well, where Connie McKenzie just asked if you have anything else that you would feel comfortable sharing about the Nancy Guthrie case before we let you go.
Essentially,
Thank you.
we started to talk about Chris Nanos, and before we got cut off, and I do believe there was a drop in the ball was dropped in the beginning. I don't think it was realized just how big of a case it was going to be. And a lot of times, law enforcement will send out an inappropriate response, but then they quickly readjust and they go forward a little bit stronger. I don't understand what compelled Pima County to hold on to the case without bringing the FBI into it sooner, because kidnappings are typically an FBI based matter, especially if there's some suspicion that they may have been taken out of the state or out of the country. So I think that was a dropped ball there. The fact that information keeps going one way and then the other, the very next minute, does not give a lot of credibility there. I think that this is all my opinions. I don't believe that the case has been handled to the best of its ability, and I think that will change as people continue to press the matter. And I think eventually we'll get some
Mm.
response. But in the meantime, where's Nancy? How is Nancy? Will we get her back? Those are all important questions. And so all we can do is just kind of continue to go forward and hope for the best. And we're definitely not going to drop it. We're going to keep going. And those few law enforcement agencies that don't care for me, it's primarily for that reason, because I don't drop it. I keep going and I keep pressing,
Oh, that sounds
and
familiar.
it puts them on the table to do the right thing.
Well, I know the families appreciate that.
Hey, Bill, is it okay if we do run across with Jennifer's research, we do run across little clues and things. You probably noticed if you've watched any of our other shows that we come up with stuff that I'm pretty proud of us that we come up with stuff that
I
other
saw that.
people aren't. If we could just every once in a while maybe share it with you, because it seems like you do have a case file going, and that way you could just add it to it, and maybe something we'll go it'll trigger you to go, wait a minute, and flip the page and go, that lines up to something else. Because I think that happened a little bit today with you, Jennifer, with
Yeah.
stuff you were talking about with him.
No, I agree. I think that is true.
I really
Perfect.
appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, somebody is asking butterflies. Thank you so much for the super chat. She was asking what was the name of the book that you were talking about and the author.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the author is Caitlin, Caitian, Rother, Rother, and the name of the book was Death on Ocean Drive. That's
Death
the
on
Rebecca
Ocean Drive. Okay.
Caitlin Rother,
Death on Ocean Drive. That's
Death on
the
Ocean
Rebecca
Drive.
case. And then I would like to offer anyone who wants a copy of a guidebook that I wrote called A Gumshoe's Guide to Baja California.
Yes.
All they would need to do is send me an email regarding the book, and I would send them a digital copy. I wrote it. It's only 72 pages, but it talks about 4 of my cases in Mexico, and it gives an idea of why the Baja is set out the way it is, and some background about the types of food in the different regions of that
Oh, wow.
area.
We'll put
And,
your email in the chat.
Oh,
I'd
is
be
that-
more than happy to send it to anybody that wants it. I never wrote it to publish it. I just wrote it to document some of the cases I've worked that I can talk about, and then
Yeah, fantastic. I'm so glad that you have that. It's an emailed book, right? It's not a physical book, right? It's a
correct.
okay.
And what I'll do is I'll send you a copy when we get off here, so you can
I would
see
love
it as
that.
well. Because
Thank you so
the
much.
first few pages, the first 4 pages tell you what an investigator is, what an investigator has to deal with, and then one of my encounters with what I'm told is a true shaman, and the event that helped change my outlook on investigations and this particular career path.
Well, when
And
you
I
told
think
me that story, I had goosebumps. That was an incredible story, and I think
about the trading post.
I think
I
a lot
did.
of people
Excellent.
are very, spiritual, and I think it's really interesting, especially with your Native American heritage, being more in touch with spirituality and maybe more in touch with humanity in general. It is interesting, especially what you do.
Thank you,
let's see.
Susan. Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you. Great show. Oh, thank you, Susan. We really appreciate that. It's very nice of
That's
you.
awesome.
Well, you have been a hit. We can't thank you enough for what you do, not only for the Nancy Guthrie case, answering some things, and that you're still continuing to work on it, but the amount of cases that you take with families that are in desperate positions. I just want to personally thank you from me and Glenn for what you do in our family. To be a servant's heart and to take it to that extent is, I don't feel like there's a really good description for what you do and a way to say thanks. So,
Well, I want to just tell you how much I appreciate you using our little channel
I know.
to bring out that humongous, huge, I don't know, I feel like we got the scoop tonight
We
on
did.
the,
Well, I hope so, and I hope it helps stimulate the right people to do the right thing and others to keep trusting law enforcement. The one thing I didn't talk about is, the FBI has traditionally been an extremely good and competent agency, and I feel that there has been some lacking here in the last short time. And agents continue to come on, agents continue to leave, and there hasn't been the high standards that I think were there prior. I've got 2
Interesting.
former interns, one that went to the Secret Service and one that went to the FBI. I have a third one, a female, who became the district attorney for Sacramento County, and she got interested in it because her younger sister, was kidnapped and raped. Luckily, she was recovered and she is healed or is healing. And so, it's kind of a full circle type thing. It's not just going out and looking for the people that have disappeared, but it's kind of generating the type of people that need to be in this field. And I feel very grateful
I can see
I've been
that.
able to help in that respect.
I think that's fantastic. And that's good to hear that maybe there's people that are trying to help, like you said, inspire another generation that wants to come in and help and be elite. So,
Yeah, but again, I'm floored that you were able to give that little information that you found from that program that you use, that all the authorities use, apparently, that there's some sort of a line item or whatever you want to call it in there saying that she's deceased February 1st, and it lines up to her place of birth and social. So we know was put in there purposely for her record.
Yes,
So,
there's got to be some reason why it's there, because it
yeah,
shouldn't
could be
there.
simple, but it sounds like something's going on maybe.
Yeah, I believe so, and I think it's a lot bigger than what I can talk about at this point, and maybe in the future when it does come full circle, we can talk a little bit more in depth.
we would love
about,
that. We would love to
Yeah,
have you back.
please
Everybody's
call
asking.
anytime.
Yeah, everybody's asking for you to please come back.
Could Bill explain the country he was talking about? Thank you, Bill, for everything you do. And TBX, thank you. Could Bill explain the country he was talking about?
That you were saying that might be involved in the case. I know you said you may not be comfortable mentioning it.
Yeah, it's not connected to this continent.
Okay.
That's all I
Okay.
can say.
Interesting.
I think we can probably
Yeah.
figure from that. Yeah.
Well, guess. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on our show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about this with you and for sharing with our audience. We really appreciate it, Mr. Garcia.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you so
do
much.
this again. Can we do
Yes.
this again sometime?
I would love the opportunity, and like I said, I'll email you a digital copy of that book right now. And
Fantastic.
You're free to share. You're free to share it with whoever you like.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. So we really appreciate it. And we're going to share, again, your link. I know you didn't want us to do that, but I forced you, your PayPal.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Yeah, it's important. So if everybody sees that and would like to donate, because he really does help a lot of families that don't have the funds for searching. And he's got an amazing team of people that work, side by side with him that are also people that just want to help. So we really appreciate it, Mr. Garcia.
And I thank those people who felt compelled to contribute. I've never, ever, ever asked for anything before.
We know.
I was afraid he was going to get mad at us, so we put it up.
Yeah, I know. Well, we appreciate it. We know what effort it takes, and effort also turns into fun. So we appreciate anything you do, and I know our audience does too. So thank you so much.
I would recommend rewatching this show later and looking at the chat. We have it. We have a setting where we make sure that the chat is also recorded, so you can watch it back, and you'll see the love out there for you. I mean, I've never seen. Oh yeah, people
lot of
know who you
support.
are for sure. and
Yes.
they're now asking, will he please come back? Will he come back? Can he come back? Make him come back. We love Mr. Garcia. So if you want to feel good about yourself, watch the show back.
Yeah, you know what? Anybody that wants the digital link, she's asking if we can put it up on our website. We can absolutely do
That's
that.
a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Inner Strength, for suggesting that. That's a great idea.
I'll put his email or something so that he'll know who he's sending
We
it
can
to.
put a little section about that, and maybe even the PayPal account.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening. Thank you for joining us, and thank you again for the opportunity. We really appreciate it.
And thank you for doing the job that you're doing, because it's important as well.
Wow.
I
Thank
appreciate you saying that.
We
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Have
Good
a
night,
great
Bill.
night. We'll talk soon.
You do the same.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye.
Wow. I like him.
I'm just honored. What a really nice evening, and being able to get some answers to some things.
He was telling us earlier that he literally turned down I don't know if you want to say the network, because it's not like
I don't want to
we're
do
all
that.
but
No.
let's just say it was a major network. They
Yeah.
were trying to grab him. And I didn't expect him to basically, give us the scoop on such a big thing with that thing. I mean, it may be nothing, like I said
I know,
earlier.
and thanks
but
to his son who watched us and said that we did a good job and that he should talk to us. So that was
Yeah.
really nice. We
yeah,
really
his son
appreciate
kinda,
it.
I think, convinced him that we don't even know him. Have we even
No,
talked to
no.
him? But
So I
Yeah.
mean, I think our audience has a lot to do with that. We were really grateful for you all, keeping it classy, keeping it, caring. I mean, all of us care. That's why we want to listen. That's why we want to get more information. But somebody like him that has connections all over globally, it's really important that there's people like him out there that take,
Yeah.
because I think people forget. I think we want to immediately blame law enforcement. But as he said earlier, they ran out of funds. Law enforcement has funds too.
That
And at
happens.
some point, with certain cases, they don't have enough funds to take it further, or
Thank
kind
you.
of like,
Truba.
oh, thank
Truby.
you. Thank you, Truby.
Yeah.
You. They had that case where they went to the wrong dump
Yeah.
and then spent all the money there. So, things happen, and having people like him, thank you so much, that
don't
are,
want to forget that we really want to always behind the scenes, guys. You have no idea.
you have no idea.
Our channel's success. We have a lot to thank him for that. And then tonight, if you want to tell who's helping.
Yes, we are so thankful to Jim Survival for volunteering tonight to help us mod, and in the future, we
Jim,
can't thank you enough,
you're
Jim. Talk about another
gentleman.
gem. These are Major Rammer Jammer is retired military, helping out, and really appreciates all the support for not only the military but first responders. And Jim was a first responder himself,
And he has a channel.
and he has a channel. Jim's channel is amazing. He talks about cases that have haunted him for one reason or another, that he feels like there's just something a little bit more out there, and wants to bring some awareness to some of these cases that aren't as big and screen grabbing. And we really appreciate what he does, and we go over to his channel and watch his channel too. And
If we can get 15 more likes, I don't know if anyone in the channel hasn't hit the like button yet. There may not be, because it's about equal the number of people here and the likes.
Okay.
But we'll hit 1,000 if you get 15 more people.
that would be very nice of everybody. We
hit
really
the
appreciate
likes.
it.
Yeah.
And then I guess for the feel good tonight, hold on. I wanted to read. I found it and then I lost it.
No.
Hold on a minute.
Don't panic.
I'm not going to panic.
Don't panic yet. I used to work with a guy who used to say that. Don't panic yet. There's
Don't
going
panic.
to be a time to panic. And
Bonnie, you're going to have to hold on. That's our little Westie asking to go out. You're going to have to wait. Where did it go? Shoot.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to remind
Yes.
people after the show, don't do it right now. Go to the website, tbxunfiltered.com, and hit stay connected. Super chat. My birthday present to you guys. Very important show tonight. Who's that? Steph's.
Oh, thank you so
Oh my
much.
gosh.
That is so
Thank
nice
you
of
very
you.
much.
We really appreciate that.
My God, people are so awesome.
Yeah, you guys have been so welcoming and so great. I just can't thank you enough. This is it. Okay, so I'm just going to say the first name. This is one of our viewers. And for those of you that, oh yeah, we already had that one.
Okay.
Yes.
Making
Thank
sure.
you so much.
I don't
Yes.
want anyone to ever do a super chat and not get.
So if you all haven't joined us before, then we like to end it on a good, positive note. We talk about really heavy things, dark things, horrific things when you're in true
Icky.
crime. Yeah, and I just don't like ending it that way. So we like to start on a nice note, end on a nice note, and sometimes we show videos of our their little wildlife that goes by, but that's our little sweet fawn that has been just here in our yard constantly. But we got a note from Debbie, and she says, Jen and Glenn, you both compliment each other. I'm loving the little side notes about how you met, the little dancing, etc., and makes it even more fun. And I agree, Jen, someone's junk is someone else's treasure, right, Debbie? We love finding stuff like that. Nothing wrong with that at all, she says. Do what you love. Keep doing what you're doing. You both have a beautiful heart. And I can tell that even after only a few shows, those missing, you need the confident voices such as yours, Debbie. So I can't thank you enough, Debbie, for being so kind, and for many other Debbies in our comments and in our emails, encouraging us to keep doing what we're doing, and really being really sweet about loving our channel and loving our audience. And
It's hard picking one to do for the feels in the end of the evening, because
I
there's so
know.
many, which,
But I thought that was
oh my
really
gosh,
cute.
every one of them, I'll see an email, I go, oh my gosh, look at this one, Jen. And I mean,
So we're just going to randomly, share some of the comments that you all share with us. And we just want to let you know that it really does mean a lot to us. We really appreciate all the support. So thank you so much. Did we get another one? Thank you again. Oh, and Major Rammer Jammer, thank you guys. Much love to all, peace and love and
Oh my
happiness.
gosh,
God
look what
first, of
happened.
course.
You guys,
Much love.
I asked for 15 more likes and we had
Wow, thank you so much.
40, 50 of them.
We ended up getting to 1,028 guys of likes. We really
Hit the
appreciate
likes and
it.
subscribe, and we'll keep updating you guys on everything that's coming up.
And the jewels and the memberships. Wow, we really can't thank you enough.
So we do have already scheduled rather, to remind them, Juanita Adame, who has
Please join us for that. Y'all are going to love
she
it.
has the audio of the scanner traffic.
That she believes is the scanner traffic,
Yeah.
allegedly.
Well, when you hear it, it's
pretty telling.
Sounds like that.
So those of you that haven't heard it, we're going to reshare some of that. And she's going to answer some of our questions about, there's a changing landscape that's happening with media in general. So we wanted to talk to her not only about the awesome work that she did and the amount of time that she spent on getting it, guys. It took her 3 days of going through scanner traffic to get all that information. But also, what is her opinion on what's happening with media? And now that there's independent coverage happening, what is the behind the scenes on large networks? What are they seeing? Are they seeing that things are shifting? I think there's a lot of that going on. So
basically just going to have her on and have like a little fireside chat kind of a deal.
So, and because of her scheduling, it will be a recorded interview, but we're going to, have an open discussion about it on Sunday. And then we're going to be playing that for you on Tuesday. So, she's going to be really interesting to talk to. What an amazing person she is too. I've been able to speak to her a couple times now. She's a really, really good person, which I think shows. And she also has her own channel, all of you on YouTube. So please go and subscribe now for that. I know she'd be grateful, and she's on Instagram and a lot of other platforms. So go and give her a follow. And yes, thank you, Jim Survival, for helping us out tonight. Jim, you're an amazing person, and he's got a great channel. So don't forget to subscribe. And thank you, Major Rammer Jammer, for keeping our chat in line. We appreciate it.
Oh, super chat.
So
thank you both. Best guests and the mods in chat. Much love.
Thank you so much,
Oh,
Maga Mama. You're awesome. We love Maga Mama.
Now, on Saturday, though, we've already posted or scheduled that show, too, so you can talk about it.
That's for Saturdays? Oh, for the next Saturday. Yes.
Tuesday is the Juanita Adame.
Yes. So next Saturday, for those of you that are interested, I personally was interested and wanted to know about the Bitcoin activity, some questions about Bitcoin. And this person isn't just a Bitcoin expert. They are specifically a Bitcoin forensic expert. So this person has been on many massive news channels. He's another one that, like Juanita and Bill, I'm so amazed that these people want to come on our channel. But he's been on Fox News. He's been on a lot of other things. And he primarily goes in when law enforcement needs help from kidnappings, abductions, divorce cases, where Bitcoin is part of the issue. So we are very grateful to Paul Sabinik for joining us. And we did an interview with him. So that will be posted
We already have that in the can.
Yep.
Let me tell you something. There is some stuff that came out about how Bitcoin, blockchain, all that works. And if nothing else, it's just amazing that he really gave us some answers. But also, personally, for people that have Bitcoin or investments or anything,
You're going to want to watch
you
this.
want to watch this because he'll give you some advice on how to make sure you're
Yep.
safe, which you don't realize that things are going on right now.
Yep.
So you need to turn in and get some answers on how to be safe.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you everybody for the super chats, the likes, the memberships. We can't thank you enough. And have a great rest of your weekend. And we will see you on Tuesday.
Subscribe on the way out if you're not already subscribed, and definitely hit the like
We
button.
really appreciate it.
We love you guys. We'll
Have a
see
great
you next
weekend.
time.
Welcome to Thornbridge, under the break room light. Jim brings the facts, Glenn brings the hard truth. Cold case folders open, names we will not lose. We follow every thread for the ones abused. No smoke, no